YouTube, it's Brian Phillips. We're gonna open this box right now. It's gonna be amazing. Just wait. Here we go, guys. Here on Brian Phillips RC, we open them up, we set them up, and then we fly them in sort of a different order than that.
Well, I mean, we do it in that order.
Oh yeah, look at that. It's the F-86.
Cool.
From FMS, amazing, all new. This one is in the red, white, and blue. They also have a livery with yellow, okay? So we're gonna pop this out right now and see what it has to offer. We're gonna show you the full Unbox build radio setup right now. And if you guys are curious about how we set it up, all you have to do is follow this video. If you're looking for the flight would have published just a couple of minutes before this video, as usual. Okay, all right, set that out of the way. Oh boy, ooh, there's the other livery. It's called the Huff. So this one is the top and bottom, front and back, of course. Thank you, China. But as you can see here, looks pretty sweet. So it's called the Sky Blazer. Okay. And what is this? 80 millimeters. Amazing. All right, what else is this? Whoa! Whoa, 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 whoa. Hold on just a second.
What?
What is that? Is that an air brake? Is that an air brake?
Oh. We're gonna find out. So this is this one. This is this one, right? It says down here. It's marked. At least it's marked that one.
Oh, okay. So this one's gonna be the yellow and silver one. Okay, so this is the Huff. All right, guys, without further ado, we're gonna open it up. I was gonna try to read the specs, but I haven't even found them. Are they over there?
Nope.
There's no specs on the outside of this one.
Because they have both liveries on the outside.
Oh, yeah, that's right. Usually I have to flip the box and I have everything upside down. So anyway, here what we do on Brian Phillips RC, we're gonna unbox this, we're gonna build it, and we're gonna set it up, and then you guys can follow along at home. We are gonna use the NX10. Oh man, that thing is in there tight.
Do you need some help?
Ooh, it looks good already. I can already see the spring-loaded oleo. Oh yes. It looks so good. Oh, okay, all right. Let's set this up in the background. I'm super excited for the yellow and silver, actually. I think it's gonna be sweet looking. And by the way, if you guys are curious, if you wanna see how they look, we're gonna actually be doing both. So we're super excited to do that. But we're just gonna do one build.
Yes.
So you have to use your imagination. If there's any difference, we'll let you know. I don't think there will be, okay? So manual as usual. Not folded, good for us.
What's in there?
So this is plug and play. What is that?
There's just a thing about the clevis linkage rod. There's like an addendum for clevis.
All right, here we go.
Okay.
Let's keep going, guys. Super excited to get this thing out. If you're new to Brian Phillips RC, this is kind of how we handle things. We show it the way it is, not necessarily where the manufacturers want us to show. But they usually have some suggestions and goes in one ear and out the other.
We read those later.
We read those usually after they've complained about what we said. Ooh, that is so beautiful. There's no linkages though. What the heck happened there? Did somebody forget?
That's how I feel about
Looks
no linkages.
so good though. Look at the smoothness.
Yeah.
That is so nice. There's like nothing. I love it. The only thing you see is these little panel bumps.
Yeah. Look at the gray decal match to the pink.
Oh, it's so good.
Really good.
Really good match. And then everything feels nice. And okay, so there's not just one, but two cats playing in the box. Yeah, look at the stiffness of that. That's really good. LEDs, very nice. Look like day bright LEDs. We'll find out though. And then spring loaded, but I can't really show because there's not enough room for it to move. So when this retract comes down, nice gear door, perfect match on the color. Absolutely gorgeous. Okay. I'm gonna lay that down. Foam to protect the foam from the foam. I'm hoping it's just these that don't have them on because they had such a tight pack.
We'll find out.
I know. We'll find out either way. Looks absolutely phenomenal.
Yeah, the finish is really nice.
There's no naked foam at all.
No.
So guys, if you like a fully painted model, this one is definitely fully painted.
Yeah.
Oh, look, we have DB9s.
Oh, cool.
So that's cool. So quick release wing. So that should be nice.
This is going to be pretty decent size.
Yes, it is. An 80 millimeter is a pretty decent size EDF. Generally, when we get into 80 millimeters, we're talking about 6S power, which I didn't see on here, but I assume this is all 6S. And we will find out from what the manual says. And by the way, not a very big box for a bigger plane. Ooh, careful. Look what I found.
Forget a sack.
I forgot that.
Oh, that's a pretty big nutsack.
There's actually just a few screws. That's actually not bad at all.
No.
And then the quality control thing.
Ooh, good.
Okay.
Looks like all the clevises are in here. And then like an antenna.
I don't know what type of thing it is. I'm not sure it's an antenna.
Or, yeah, I don't know.
The ailerons. Okay. So here we go, guys. Pulling this off. Man, that is a tight pack.
Wow.
Goodness
Yeah,
gracious.
That is an odd setup.
Drop tank looks sweet. We actually have decals on the drop
Fully
tank, which is
painted.
kind of different. Looks like they ripped our decal though. That is left. And then there must be a right in there somewhere. Oh, I bet it's in here. Nope, it's not. Whoa. I think there might have been a little, I'm not sure. We'll come to that later. Beautiful horizontal stabilizer with the dihedral. As you can see, go back a little bit. You guys see the dihedral there? Looks absolutely phenomenal. No clevis. Wow. Look at the throw on that. That's huge.
Is that just a pinch
And yeah,
hinge?
it's got this like, no, it's not a pinch hinge. Look at that. The way they cut that in. So nice.
Really nice.
And obviously split elevator. So I'm pretty sure on the real ones, they would have just acted as an elevator. I wouldn't probably want to do televons on this plane, but I guess hypothetically you could do that. Beautiful.
Nice.
Really looks nice. Same thing on that too. Look at the hinging.
That was really cool.
Wow. That is really beautiful. They have a central hinge here and it just pivots on that hinge mechanism. That is awesome. I bet it was a pain in the butt to build.
The decal color matching is
Perfect.
really good.
It's really, really, really good. Okay.
Yes.
All right, so continuing along, I'm just gonna go ahead and cut out. What the heck is that? Is that? Oh, the fuse is in half. Look at that. That's so weird. We haven't seen that before in a long time. Usually only on planes that I crash into trees at full speed and break the carbon fiber tube. This is a fiberglass joiner. Yeah,
Wow, that sounds heavy.
It is heavy. They must have needed something for the CG. Okay. Let's go in here. Okay. All right. Ooh. I don't know. It seemed like somebody was having a good time. There's the thrust tube. FU89.
Okay.
U897. Okie dokie. We have a light back here. Yes, we do. Awesome. It's got more than one. So cool. Can't wait to see this. This is going to be awesome.
Did it that way.
Okay. I was nervous about this earlier, and I hope, oh no, we have wet decals. Ugh. We have wet decals. We're going to have to look at that. But this is a smooth surface. The F7F had rivets everywhere on it.
Yeah.
All right. When I first saw this, I thought it was a huge mistake, but look at the weathering. This has got to be one of the most detailed and delectable canopies that I've seen. And not only that, but the plastic is pretty clear too.
Yeah, it is.
That is really pretty.
Really cool.
And they have that little HUD display there that you can't see.
Oh, wow.
But look how detailed that is. That's so sweet.
That is really cool.
Wow.
That's really nice.
Okay. But then they got this like stuff everywhere. I don't know what that is, but it's like rusty water or something. Okay, so check this out. Talk about packaging genius. That thing has like no room.
No.
And that is plastic, by the way. Okay, here we go, guys. Oh, it is so gorgeous.
What decals do we have to put on?
I don't know.
There are a lot of decals.
Yeah, that is so sweet looking. the gear door
Wait, what?
are strapped shut right now. I don't know if you can see how big these cheaters are, but they're huge. 1, 2 huge cheaters, EDF access. Nose doors look perfect.
There's lights up here.
Forward facing, are those lights?
Are they?
They look painted to me.
What are those?
I don't know what the heck that is. How the heck does that work? I'm not sure. They look painted to me. I guess we're gonna find out. But man, that looks so gorgeous. The huff. We got the guns here. Absolutely love the panel lines. It's so clean. Oh, and there are air brakes.
Oh, cool.
Okay, so this has air brakes and flaps, okay? So let's just stop right now and talk about that for a minute. Normally, when we do a plane like this, we need 6 channels to get the job done. But I'm a little nervous this plane is gonna be more than 6 channels. You wanna know why? Because I want the air brakes separate. Also thrust reversage. Do we have thrust reversage?
I was just wondering.
I don't see an extra line. That doesn't mean it doesn't exist, but I do not see it. And that's...
Here's the throttle line.
No, I know. I was looking at that too. I was just chasing it back. I don't see the yellow wire, but that's okay because to be honest with you, I've been a little nervous about depending on thrust reverse with regard to these FMS models because we've had a few that have, how do I put it nicely, does not reverse the thrust.
It hasn't been dependable.
Yeah, and part of the problem is you have to come to a complete stop. It just doesn't always happen that way.
Right.
And then next thing you know, you're giving full throttle the wrong direction.
Yeah.
And then your plane crashes. And that happened to, was it the Avanti? No, it wasn't the Avanti. It was the F-18 that's not down there.
No.
70. And then it was the Futura. Right?
64.
64 millimeter Futura.
Yep.
That happened off camera, by the way. So it didn't destroy the plane or anything, but it could have, okay?
Yeah.
So for that reason, I'm not like super worried. Okay, there's nothing on the bottom.
Nope.
But I am really excited to put this together. Now, there is a lot of pieces, so I'm curious to see what's in here.
Yeah.
There are a lot of decals. I don't understand what decal could you need to put on here.
There's so many.
Let's see what they got. Holy cow. Oh boy. There's a lot of them. They're little decals. I don't even know. The last time we did decals like this, we had such a hard time on that F-16. They're all pink still.
Yeah. Well, let's see what they are.
Yeah, we'll see. All right, so. All right. Yeah, not gonna see it at 100 miles an hour.
No. Wait, are those wet? Yeah.
Wait, are they?
Or are they stickers?
They feel like wet stickers.
Yeah.
They feel like wet decals.
They have the yellow paper transfer stuff.
Yeah, I'm pretty sure that's wet, but they do look really nice. Okay, now, if you don't know what I'm talking about, let's go look at the F-16. What happened was when we did the F-16, I never was able to get the other backing off, okay? It's not actually backing, it's pouring.
Yeah. So you can see the white there.
So if you guys ever get a model and you want to do a decal, and it's a wet decal, let's go over here, case in point number 2. This is a wet decal. F7F, absolutely gorgeous model. Very nice nose art. There's 5 sets in this model, if I recall. This came from Cali Graphics because mine blew off.
Yeah.
And if you're gonna get blown off by a model, that would be the one.
Yeah. It's like perfect looking.
So anyway, thanks Ted. Ted sent us those, which was super nice. But look at all the, oh my good Lord.
Where do those all go?
Holy cow.
Oh my gosh.
Holy cow, there's even more. Wow. Okay, so yeah, I'm pretty sure we're not gonna put these decals on just because as much as I love building models, I'm not gonna spend the time on that for the sake of this video, okay?
It does appear that they are all numbered. I mean, like they all say B7, B26, B12.
Sounds like some sort of a vitamin mix.
What?
Here's what we're gonna do, guys. We're not gonna put those decals on, and if we do, the decals are gonna be added off camera, okay? Because they're just basically small decals. I do appreciate that the decals come with it. That's really cool. I don't want to put them on. That's probably a 2-hour job for me. And I'm not like super meticulous. Some of you guys will spend even more.
Yeah.
So if you want to do your weathering and then put them on, you can do that if you want.
That would be cool too.
Or you can do nothing. But they already weathered inside the canopy, so I don't need to do it.
There's so many decals on it already that like, who's gonna know?
Well, when it's going like 100 miles an hour by, I don't think anybody's gonna know.
Yeah.
So what we're gonna do is we're gonna get our screwdrivers, this awesome screwdriver set, boom! And we're gonna build this thing. And to be honest, from all these tools, we're gonna need one. I bet it's 2 millimeters.
Yeah.
What do you think? 2 millimeters? You make any bets?
Yep, 2 millimeter.
All right, so 2 millimeter drive. I'm kind of just wanna dig into it though.
Are you gonna get a plane stand or are you gonna try and build it on the counter?
Well, we could get a plane stand. That's a good point, camera crew.
Just depends
I'm just gonna go into the dark abyss and get this thing. Oh yeah.
You're probably gonna have to spread that out a little bit.
If you say so. What? Oh, goodness gracious.
You need me to help you powder your shaft?
I'll powder my own shaft, thank you very much.
Okay.
There it is. Okay, so we've got that there. We're gonna put this out. We're gonna just build this thing right now before your very eyes. It's gonna be amazing. And to be honest, it's not a very high piece count for as complicated as this plane looks. No, it's not really. Okay, so without further ado.
We gonna read directions? Or?
By the way, if you guys were gonna do an afterburner, this plane would be easy to do because look where it is. Boom, right there.
That's true.
Super nice. Okay, so you've got a rudder plug and an elevator plug, and that's what your Y cable's for, is for the elevators, okay? So, how do you pass that through though?
Where does it plug into?
No, I know, that's what I'm trying to say. Because if you look at this, we've also got an LED cable. How the heck does that work? I don't see an LED cable. Do you?
No. I don't.
Where the heck is it? Okay, guys, just to be clear, I'm not fibbing. This is gonna go to the LEDs, okay? Mm-hmm. But I have no clue where it is. Is it just in there and it just got pulled back maybe? Or did they forget to put one in?
Too bad.
I don't know. Right. Because obviously the elevator is gonna need to have 2 plugs, and these plugs are gonna pass directly through here, okay? So that's all hunky-dory. That's pretty straightforward stuff right there, okay? So this is gonna set in here, okay? Just like this, boom. Oh, you know what it is? Wow. How the heck are you gonna get those wires landed? That's gonna be so awkward.
You're gonna have to read directions.
No, we don't do that around here. I bet the Y cable splits off for it. Because all it is just power and ground.
Okay.
So where'd that bag go, camera crew?
It's over there.
So this bag has a Y splitter in it. And I bet it's a 3-way Y splitter.
So you'll have elevator, elevator, and LED?
That's what I'm guessing. We're gonna open this bag. We have to take the staple out first. So guys, if you're wondering why we show the whole process on these builds, is because there's a million people that will tell you highlights on YouTube. But what we do is we show all the lights.
And if you're wondering why we don't read directions, it's because Brian's technically in charge.
Whatever. I know better than to admit to that. Yep, I was correct. I was correct.
What? Oh,
look, elevator, 3-way Y splitter.
Okay.
Boom, that's what it is. Okay, no, this is not the second one. So I did figure that out on my own. Sort of, kind of. That is so heavy back there because the EDF is back there. All right, look. This is gonna go here.
But you're not gonna put that on yet, right?
I mean, just because you suggested I don't, I'm gonna go ahead and just put it there just to show you how awesome it looks.
Okay, so somebody start counting.
Wow!
How many times that's in the way.
This goes on the wing. Should I put that on?
Just to spite me? Thanks.
I'm not trying to spite you. I'm just trying to build the plane. Because every piece that you put, okay, so how do you eat an elephant?
All at once.
Liar. One bite at a time, guys. That's what they say. By the way, these are hinged the same way as the tail feathers.
Yeah,
and then these are fallored, which is so cool.
That is really cool.
That is so, so cool. Okay. All right, we're gonna keep going. We're gonna keep going.
Squirrel, come back over here and finish this step.
Okay. So we have all the linkages, and then just so you guys can see, this is the actual nut and bolt sack.
Not. And they're all
the same. Nice.
Right.
That's the way we like it here on Brian Phillips RC. Easy. Okay. So here is the rudder. Here's the elevator. Elevator is going to snap in here, brown to brown. Okay. Once that plugs in, that gets us our reach that I was questioning earlier. Okay. And the screws, we're gonna leave there, camera crew.
Okay.
I'm gonna have to do something about all these loose pieces though, because at the end of the day, I don't wanna lose anything.
Why did you turn it upside down?
Well, I turned it upside down because I wanted to annoy you by putting that thing in.
Oh, okay.
Did it work?
Oh. Well, hello to you too. Ah!
It's still on you.
Oh, thanks.
Do you guys see how that's gonna work?
Maybe they're supposed to stay closed.
Maybe they're not.
Somewhere in the direction that's gonna be like, do not open the gear door.
Do not take off the strap.
It will explode.
I don't think so.
Okay.
I'm just gonna put this on because I want to. It's gonna be awesome. We are gonna have to read the oh, look at this though. Oh, the release is here, it's recessed. That is
like,
so
wait,
cool.
Where's the latch?
Boop.
Nice.
Wow. This has got to be one of the coolest, most detailed ones we've done for FMS to date. And we've done some pretty cool ones. Well, that's not true. The F7F is still amazing. All right. So the next move is this. We have to pass this through that. Okay. And we have to slide this in. And then there's screws that are received from the side. Oh, wow. How do we open the air brakes?
Oh. Is that why there's that little addendum thingy?
What about the addendum thingy? What about the addendum thingy? Did you read it?
Was there something about opening the little side doors?
We have to open the side doors. Use the flap channel of the remote control to open the air brake. Since your plane's not built yet, it will surely be connected. Okay. I add that last part, guys, in case you weren't sure. All right, this is XBC battery checker, guys. It's the XBC battery checker. I plugged in a battery. I'm gonna click. I'm gonna go down to servo tester, open up the servo tester, okay? So the servo tester is gonna allow me to open those air brakes. And I do need to be mindful not to deploy those into this. So I'm probably gonna have to slide that through a little bit. Okay. I don't usually adjust this with the plane on the stand, but I'm being extra lazy tonight. All right, so there you go. I'm gonna press the button. That works pretty dang sharp, actually. Flap, where is flap? Either on rudder, throttle, flap. This makes me a little bit nervous. Do you know why it makes me nervous, camera crew?
Why?
Because this is not, it's not a flap. It's an air brake.
Oh, it's cool. They're like,
holy cow, they have so many details in there.
detailed in there.
Okay, that looks pretty awesome.
Oh, they go wider.
Yeah, I know. That looks so good. Oh, I'm so excited for this thing. That is so, so cool. Okay, all right, it's kind of killing me. I want to see this thing fly, bad. All right, so this needs to slide into there. And then this needs to slide through. And wait. Oh, so there's screws here, but that's going to be for the rudder, okay? That's a pass-through. Then this is going to go through, and it's going to be receiving a screw too.
Okay.
All right. Do you see my problem, camera crew? I just don't have enough hands.
I'm not sure how to help you.
Just hold the camera.
Okay.
See what I've done here? I lined up the 2 carbon fiber tubes. Okay, that's the easiest way. Line those up first. Then I have to pass all this crap through. Man, this is gonna be awkward.
Luckily, you only have to do this once.
That's what she said. That ain't gonna, how the heck are those all gonna fit?
No.
You can't do it. You have to plug this in. Yeah, but then did you see where they reached to? They didn't reach very far.
Yeah, but stick the Y cable through. No. Well,
You won't reach. Ooh, which one's which? Crap. See what I'm talking about? Yeah. They're just like super tight. Okay, elevator's on top. The brown is toward my belly. Okay? Do you understand what I'm saying there, camera crew?
I do. That's kind of scary.
You don't need to put your hand there.
Okay.
It's fine. I just gotta walk those out of the hole.
But wait, you need to know, is the rudder brown towards your belly too?
Both of them are. Okay. The elevator's on top. I'm trying to remember that, by the way. Are you gonna help me remember, or are you gonna talk about other things so I forget?
Elevator on top, brown toward your belly.
Okay, I have some forceps in case I need to do surgery. Booyah, forceps, guys. Get them if you don't have them. Get them while they're hot. The elevator's on top.
Mm-hmm. Brown toward your belly.
Oh, goodness gracious. Okay, watch what I'm doing, guys. I'm gonna be a smart feller, not a fart smeller. Brown is away from me now. Okay, see brown is away from me. Okay, now brown is away from me again. I'm just gonna plug this in here. Okay, once it's lined up, snap it, verify it, snap it, verify it. Now, I usually don't really worry about servo testing, but there's enough crap going on this plane that I wanna make sure I have this correct. Now they're not hooked up, but I can still make sure they're working. Mm-hmm. That's the center. That's the center. Now I've unplugged it. I am gonna plug this back into flaps so I can collapse those as soon as we get the screws done. It's because I went back to the middle. What am I hitting? I'm getting stuck on something.
I think it's the decal.
We're gonna have to trim that decal, because I don't want that happening while we're flying. Okay, the other thing too is we'll have to make sure the deployment is even, because this can cause an asymmetry for yaw, okay? Also check your stickers here, guys. Look at that. See that sticker? Mm-hmm. Show them what I'm talking about.
Yep, it's bumped up. It's not flat right here.
You wanna know what we're gonna do about that?
Cut it so it lays in
there.
We're
gonna slice and dice. Slice and dice, baby. Okay, watch this.
Why do I know all these things?
Because you're smart. See, I sliced it.
Yep, that's perfect.
I'm gonna find a point where it looks like it might actually have a seam cut, and then I just cut it in. You'll never know any better, and it's gonna not peel, okay? Yeah. So guys, as you can see, a little bit of complexity here. This is not gonna be the easiest build we've ever done, but it's not hard. It's just weird steps that we're not used to doing. Screws. You're probably thinking to yourself, but Brian, you're not ready to put screws in. Yes, I am. Right here, there's one. That is so cool that that's in the mechanical closet. I love it. Okay, do you have flash on or anything?
Yeah.
Now, you guys are probably also thinking to yourself, why are you putting the screws on? What if you accidentally push that wire back? That is a good point. I understand your concern. Get back to me in a minute. If we don't get it screwed up, then I will pretend like I was right and we'll use movie magic to fix it off camera if I do screw it up.
Okay.
Just kidding, guys. We don't do movie magic. We're way too unsophisticated for that crap. Okay, so check this out. That is so good. They even put a freaking label. Look at that. They have a green sticker over the servo and it's inside of a cavity. Oh. Wow. gotta say. Okay, there's one on the bottom too.
Need some dirt rubbed on it though.
Look, watch this. I stuck it right in the tailpipe there. Wait, that's the tailpipe.
That would be easy to
And to be honest with you, the drop tanks were already enjoying it. I mean,
it's true.
Sorry. New releases, we're supposed to be good for those. For some of our affiliates.
Not for this.
Will you hold this, please, right there?
Wait,
Just hold it.
Okay.
You can, like, carefully rest it if you need to. Now, this is super easy how to do this. It just was kind of weird to not know it. Okay, brown is toward my belly. So the brown and the black go together. Now I want to just show you this from the side. See this? Brown is down, black is down, red is in the middle. So we just contact. Now you don't want to go black to the signal because then you might actually have some sort of strange flicker and it might actually work because the reference voltage will change when the signal changes. Because of the pulse width modulation, right, camera crew?
Yeah, it's my favorite.
Oh, yes, there was enough. I love it. Now I can actually see. Whew, that makes me feel so much better. Okay, brown is down. Hey, pull this back. Thank you. See what I did? I had to rotate that. I want to unrotate that. Cable management 101. Get it done right now. Don't wait till the build is done. Because chances, oh, you're kidding me. Awesome! That is so sweet. Holy cow, that's bright.
Those are really bright.
Okay.
Still holding.
I'm liking this plane more and more every time I put a new piece on. You can let go.
Okay.
So this red wire had been laid down. Ooh, how the heck am I gonna? It's like there's no obvious next step because I have to pull all this wire forward, but then I have to get to the one underneath. So I'm gonna untangle this. Camera crew, grab this with your fingertips. Pull gently, gently, gently. Thank you. Okay, you see what I just did there? Let go. Now I have to get this laid down so that it finds a nice little home where it can live forever and ever. But then I have to keep the rudder accessible. So you see what I'm doing here? I'm just gonna slide that excess into that cavity. I do not know if these are gonna fit there. I don't think they will. I'm gonna have to put that all forward. Okay, we're gonna drop it down, drop it like it's hot. I seem like the type of guy to say something like that, right?
Oh, then it's supposed to laugh. Sorry.
I'm a hip old guy. Right here? We're gonna, oh wait, no, this one only. Then the rest
goes through.
Check this out, guys. The rest is gonna go 1, 2, 3.
Yep.
Through here. So there's 1, 2, and 3. Wow.
But you still have to get that rudder. So all of those have to go in that hole.
The clavis?
Yeah.
Well, I mean, if you stick 4 in the same hole,
that
then,
seems like a lot.
Yeah. I'm just gonna, while we're talking about that, just gonna close those doors. Make sure nobody else jumps in on the action. Camera crew's gonna hold this for me right here. Okay, now why is she holding it? Because there's a lot in the way. So this would be a good one to get a second set of hands. Okay, brown is down. I hope you can see it. Just plug it in. It's not hard, it's just a lot of wires. And to be frank, if you don't know how to land these wires and figure it out from building, then all you have to do is watch me stumble my way through it and copy. Now I just want to talk about this for a second. You see this little step down and then another step down? Mm-hmm. So this is the first step down. That's the second step down. 1 and then 2. 1 and 2. So there is a cavity here to receive all these connectors. Good lordy, lord, lord. FMS is doing a great job on engineering these models lately. They have vastly improved, guys. We're talking about, like we did the Zero the other day. Still a very good plane. Wait, did we do the Zero the other day?
Well, it's not a new release.
Well,
it's new to us.
Okay, you guys are gonna see it. You guys won't have seen it by the time I'm talking about this. Because this is a new release, so it's gonna go first. But the chronological order, if it makes a difference to you, we don't mean to be dishonest, but we are honestly dishonest about our timelines sometimes. Because we have certain stuff we can't talk about because of new release status. Okay, I need you to like hold the plane a little bit so that it doesn't move. This just goes straight down, so it's actually not too bad. Hey, don't lift it, just let go.
Oh, sorry.
I'm just trying to have something to push against.
No, yeah, I didn't realize I was
well,
lifting.
Now you know.
Yeah.
Now you know. Oh, yes! Wow. It is so gorgeous! Okay, F-86, coming together. So what I was saying is, the difference in build techniques is, and honestly, I'm thinking of another jet. 70 millimeter F-18. Way harder build.
Yeah.
This is a super complex build because they were trying to keep the package size smaller. And I don't have a problem with that because I love being able to get to the EDF. That is worth any, because guys, have you noticed I've used 0 drips of glue. 0 drips of China glue. Some of the best China glue you can get is from FMS. By the way, if you're ordering this plane through the links in the video description below, you'll help support Brian Phillips RC, our family, and our small little business thing that we do here, okay? So we do ask you, if you buy this amazing F-86, whether it's that one pictured there or this one that we're picturing here today for you, buy it from the links in the video description below. And also check out Brian Phillips RC for the latest coupon codes if they exist. Okay, remember, Black Friday shopping, you guys are probably going like crazy. However much you think you're spending, your wife has spent 3 times that, I guarantee it. So make sure it would be a good time to sneak this in and let her know about the new snakes in the basement. Just remember, snakes in the basement, hon.
She's gonna be telling you there's snakes in the attic with all her shopping.
Well, I mean, she might.
But even if this isn't on Black Friday sale and you're looking at it now, we have other coupon codes that are more generic that should still work on
even this
new releases or, you know.
So check out BrianPhillipsRC.com.
Yep.
Spelled all I's. Brian
All I's.
Phillips. RC.com.
Right.
That's our website in case you guys were wondering. We do have links to it so you can follow the links super easy. I actually think we're almost done building this.
Yeah.
Like this is pretty smooth. That tail was complicated. Oh, we have to put all the clavises on.
But it's done. Like, you're not going to take the tail apart.
Clavis?
Only 2 other people understand.
That is incorrect.
Oh.
Okay, I'm pushing the door shut. Watch this. Doors are now shut. Yep. Is it going in?
No, not yet.
Well,
I mean, it's going in, yes, but it's not closing the door. Is it going to?
It's not going to close the door. The door needs to be closed. Can you please put your hand under there and close it from that side?
Yeah.
Yes, you can. Trust me, you can.
Okay,
You got it?
Yeah, just have to tell them what you're doing.
I'm just sliding the wing in, guys. It slides in super easy, but you can let go now. It'll hold it now.
I won't tip.
Okay, so I have the air brakes. One more look. Oh, yes! Watch this. It's gonna swim like a fish. Who needs an EDF when it does that? I do wanna resolve the stickiness on the labels.
I think it's the decals on the doors.
Okay, maybe what we'll end up having to do. Oh, the wing was glowing too. Did you see that?
Oh, it was?
Yeah.
Oh, yeah. Holy cow, those are so bright.
It is so day bright. Awesome. Okay, I'm unplugging that.
Okay.
Okay, putting the servo tester down. This plane is gonna be sweet. I can already tell, and it's not that heavy. I mean, I'm missing a wing. Okay.
Watch the tail. Yep.
Man, it's a good thing. Hey, would you mind putting a hand on that just so it doesn't fall? Okay, now, what I was having the camera crew do was while we were working on this, I had her hold this down. Now that little hairband or what was it, that black thing, that rubber band?
Little elastic.
You would have had to pretty much take that off anyway. So this is how hard this is to take your wing off. You basically hold this down so that your wheel catches that little release lever. Okay, watch this. That is a tight fit. Oh, wow. Yes. The wings are so far back here though, it is going to be, oh, I don't have a canopy on. And so I gotta be kind of careful. Now I'm just pushing this shut. Yeah, a little concerned I might damage this finish, so I'm gonna be kind of careful. Screws, pulling them over to where I can get to them. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, okay? And in true FMS fashion, I believe we have 1 extra. This is nice when you have all the same screws. If you're gonna take this plane to a field and you can't fit it in your car, you could easily take off one or the other wings. I would suggest taking off this wing, okay? Because you've got the pitot tube or whatever that is, the antenna, as my wife called it. I think it's a pitot tube probably. Okay, very cool. Yep, we are gonna end up with 1 extra. This has been a very easy build.
Yeah.
Now keep in mind, we're not done with radio setup, and I don't think it's gonna be that bad because radio setup on these models, the only drawback on this particular model is that you have to put the clevises on. I don't like putting clevises on if you're listing FMS, but
That was a pretty tight package. It's got to be the...
It's got to be because they would have damaged each other.
Which you don't want damage either, so.
No. And to be honest, it's not like a real big deal. It's just, it is a lot of them. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. Yeah, whatever. I can live with
The
that.
control horns are in.
Yeah, we don't have to do...
The ball links
That's
are
true.
easier.
That's true. Just the ball links are not too bad.
Yeah.
Now, this middle one is not wanting to go in, and I can tell you this. It's going to be challenging. Because there's like nowhere to push. So I'm going to see if I can walk it over at an angle and pull it over. Yep, I got it. Did you guys see what I just did there? Oh, yeah. She's squealing. Okay, so what are we going to call this build? Like 3.5 minutes?
3.5. It's only been 40 though. Like, and that includes taking it out of the box and
screwing around.
Going at your speed.
That's ash.
You need a little bit of dish soap.
I don't know.
It's only the middle ones.
Yeah, I know the middle ones hold in tight. So, but I gotta say, we didn't fight any of the outside ones, which is good. Oh, we have no spares. No spares.
Oh.
They saved a lot of money on that. By the way, I gotta say, do not belly land this thing because...
Oh, goodness.
Yeah. No. What the heck is going on now? Oh, I've already got a screw in. I lied. That is the spare.
Oh, okay.
I was just going to say, why do we not have a spare? Well, we do have a spare, folks. So FMS, eat your heart out. What a beautiful plane. Got to put the drop tanks on like right now, even though we're going to take them immediately off. Okay, so these are right and left. Is this the right side?
Yes.
Okay. No. That's,
if you flip the plane over, that's the left.
Then, but hold on, the hook.
Correct.
Oh, the hook points are. Okay, so that does say right. Oh, it is tapered. It is tapered. I just couldn't get the hook in there. What am I doing wrong? Press harder. Sometimes the ordinance is, oh yeah, it went. Now, we're gonna immediately take it off because of the clevises, right? Well, no, maybe we don't. Hey, belly landing. Now you can belly land again because you got the drop tanks. And I gotta say, guys, what a sweet looking drop tank. Oh man, I gotta hold this up.
Put the canopy on.
Canopy. Oh, canopy. Now he's just getting picky.
Where is the battery gonna go? Oh, there is a relief.
It's not a very big opening. Oh, that is so sweet. That's big. Oh man, that is so gorgeous.
That is really pretty.
I can't wait to see with the air brakes coming in. That's gonna be so sweet. Okay, I'm gonna land it. I'm gonna land it here. Okay, so let's talk for a minute. We gotta get all the clevises installed.
Okay.
We gotta get the radio system done. And we gotta get it done so you can fly tomorrow. Since you're super excited to do that in the morning.
So I can fly? I'm pretty sure I'm not gonna fly.
When I say you, what I mean is me. This is why it's good that you don't fly too.
Yeah.
Because we would always fight over these airplanes.
The first time I saw this plane, I thought it was the weirdest plane ever. I mean, it kind of is, but I really like it.
It's not weird. The F-86 is an incredibly popular plane. But it's definitely not like a modern fighter for you. But it's like, it's so gorgeous.
But it's really, really cool.
Do you not love the way that looks?
It's so detailed.
By the way, look at the other side. What the heck? Did they do 2 liveries? Or do they always do that?
It's just got to be the art on this side. I don't know.
Well, it's different. It's unusual that you'd have 2.
Yeah.
So I gotta say, that looks fantastic.
Yeah, it does.
And that was not a very hard build.
No.
Okay. So up next, we're gonna do radio setup, but we do need to pause and get a couple things cleaned up, but we'll be right back for that. All right, so we're gonna start the radio setup next. Now, usually the radio setup includes a long portion of the video where I waffle about which receiver I wanna use. Obviously,
so we're doing that now?
Yes, we're gonna get that out of the way right now. So the NX10, of course, is gonna give us plenty of channels to do what we need to do. I just wanted to answer the question that's burning inside of everybody's chest right now, and that is, do the flaps and the air brakes work together? The answer is, by default, there is a Y cable involved. I have separated these, and it was very easy by just basically undoing this cable here, okay? So this is just the front of the Y cable. And then this is the other Y cable, or excuse me, the other cable. And if you show them under the wing, I'll just show you the sweep. So as you can see, there's the flaps, okay? So what that means for you is this, okay? This is kind of a tough call, admittedly. Some of you are not gonna wanna give up independent control of the brakes, and I don't blame you. Generally speaking, I would use thrust reverse over on G, okay? In this case, I wanna use flaps here, and yes, I want to be able to deploy flaps for slow passes. However, I'm racking my brain thinking of a condition where obviously takeoff flaps, I don't want the air brakes to be deployed because it's gonna induce drag for no reason and no gain. So if you do hook up your flaps and you have a very small amount of deployment for your takeoff flaps, your air brakes may not actually be moved out far enough to really matter. So when you do landing flaps, you set up a barn door configuration where these things go down really far and then the air brakes are allowed to come out. Alternatively, you assign a separate channel. And I think that's gonna be the easier way to do it. Now, obviously we don't need any AS3X or safe on the inboard flaps or the air brakes. That wouldn't be necessary because they aren't active control surfaces for rolling the plane, pitching the plane, or yawing the plane, okay? So we're just gonna need that on the rudder, elevators, and ailerons. Also, I don't think there's any reason to worry about crow on a plane like this. And so yes, you could probably set this up on the AR631 and you'd be just fine. 637T will give you the telemetry similar to this. It's gonna give you that wire so you can get your pack voltage without going up to an AV and ESC. Now, you can also have an AV and ESC feedback pack voltage here, which by the way, we haven't talked about that. 45C pack minimum, 4000 6S. I am concerned about size. This tray is high. It's very high, and there is not that much room for this. Because you guys see the depth, like between those two, there's not that much room. So I'm quite nervous because that is a gorgeous canopy.
Yeah.
Very detailed. I do not want to give it up. And I'm thinking worst case scenario, if we can't fit things here, this is going to be one of the first planes I have to cut a battery tray to make a little bit more room because there is protection for the nose gear, but there is a large gap here. Look at this, guys. My pinky finger, no, up here. The pinky finger is completely under this. So I don't understand why that tray is so high. To me, I want to be able to move the battery way back to get that CG back on a jet. But also with the air brakes, it does complicate things, okay? So let's talk about channels. Obviously, we're gonna have throttle, we're gonna have rudder, we're gonna have ailerons, we're gonna have elevator, okay? So there's 4. Then we're gonna have flaps, gear, so we're up to 6. Then we can ride unpluggable channels on the 631 to do master gains and mode. So we could do AS3X safe and then even an offsetting. It's a larger model. You may not need to have AS3X, but I'm gonna want it anyway. I suggest you set it up with the AS3X, and if you find you don't need it, you can go to the offsetting. I don't know why you would want it to be so offsetting. I do that good enough for us. Then we have the master gain here. More dad jokes from Brian Phillips RC anytime soon. Now, what does that mean? You're out of channels, okay? You're not gonna be controlling the brakes at all. You can separate them if you want. So you don't need to go over 6 channels, or you can tie them into flaps. Now there are creative ways to run the flaps so that you can have the deployment kind of in tune. Now we did something similar with the T28 1.4 meter, not to be confused with the 1.2 from E-flite or the 2.0 from E-flite, which is also made by FMS as well, both of those. But the 1.4 meter, we ended up splitting a channel so that we could use part of the throw for our mode. So we could go from, we had reflex in that one, we would go from reflex stabilizer on to auto leveling, okay? Now we eliminated that feature. We don't actually need that now because on a reflex, if you buy this, ours is PNP, Sean. If you get yours with a reflex, you're probably not gonna have the same flexibility we do to add some channels. But again, reflex is not gonna interfere with your brakes, okay? because it's just going to be a pass through to your receiver. Now, in my case, I am seriously leaning to the AR 8360T. What this is going to add for us is, without adding an avian ESC, which is not cheap on these bigger planes, they are pretty big ESCs, so they cost a lot. I can do everything I need to fly the plane here on the 631, but I'm not going to give up any features on a plane this sweet. So I'm going to go with the 8360T. Now, what does that mean for price component? It is quite a bit more money, but the thing is, you're a lot less money than adding an avian, and then you still get the benefit of being able to go ahead and set up the braking from the physical brakes. Now, if you do a 631, like I said, you can pass the serial data for an avian ESC, which gets you pack telemetry and smart battery data if you do that. You also go from the same type of connectors. You got an EC3 here, you'd be going to an IC3. They're gonna use the same respective battery plug. In our case, we're gonna be using IC3s on our 4,000 milliamp 6S packs. We have a Gen 1 and a Gen 2 we're gonna feature on this particular plane.
But even if you want air brakes, if you want
Hold on, I'm not done.
Okay.
So you can still do the AR 8360T, and you could also get that feedback from the avian if you would decide to do this. But just keep in mind, this is only like 15 bucks more, I think, than the AR 637T, which will get you the telemetry and all the smart stuff. But the benefit here is you can use the non-smart ESC and get pack voltage still, okay? So yes, there are some steps. There's a step between this and this, but this is considerably cheaper than this.
Yes.
Okay, so you can make this plane fly, but I'm just gonna tell you something, guys. When you do a plane of this echelon, let's call it a $30 difference in price. It's not like that big a deal, okay? You're talking like 5-10%, or excuse me, like 10% of the cost of a plane like this. You're gonna get all those features, okay? Plus then, let's talk about the channels again now. Okay, now we have, instead of being tapped out on 6, plus the 2 above channels for master gain and mode, okay, which no, you can't hook anything to those,
right?
Okay, because they're unpluggables. On this, you can go full 8 channels and 2 above the top. There's actually more, incidentally, if you would need more, but there's no reason to need more right now. So what's gonna happen is, instead of being tapped with 6 channels, then we add air brakes, and then the potential for, if you would happen to get one from FMS with a Predator ESC with thrust reverse, you could go ahead and add thrust reverse in as well. Okay, so you've got basically a spare channel here, or you can alternatively set up Crow. So you could set up flaperons, so you can do a little bit of up ailerons while you're deploying flap if you think you need it. I don't think you're gonna need it on this plane. And then alternatively, you could set up televons. Now, televons are gonna be more effort because of the way the wire passes, but since this plane splits in half, you literally just send another wire up there. It's not that hard. And then you can split the left and right elevator, and you can do televons, which means these would act as ailerons, and then these would act as ailerons as well, if you want that. You don't have to do that. I don't see any benefit to it, which is why I'm not doing it. And I don't think it would be proper scale for this type of plane. I don't know if the F-86 had televons. I doubt it did. It was probably just a regular elevator. Okay, so camera crew, I interrupted you because I was in the middle of deep thought. What?
Right, I'm just saying, if you want to split out the air brakes, you're going to have to go up to the 8 channel.
You're gonna have to go.
Regardless of the telemetry, the avian, the whatever.
You're gonna have to go to
channel.
8 because you can't go from 6 to 7. You have to go from 6 to 8, okay?
And you need a pluggable channel.
Now, that being said, you don't necessarily have to buy the stabilization and auto leveling. So in other words, AS3X and Safe is gonna come in the 8360T. You could get the 8020T,
right,
which is gonna give you the telemetry as well as
the pluggable
the 8 channels that are pluggable. But you technically have those higher channels that right above the pluggables, but you just wouldn't do anything with them.
Yeah.
Okay. So in this case, we're gonna go with the 8360T. Here's why. I want brakes and I don't want to compromise. Maybe what we'll do is, once we have flown this plane, because I said we are gonna do a second one of these, which is totally awesome. The last time we did 2 planes for FMS, you want to know what happened? J11, SU27.
Shh, don't.
We're putting our linkages on, okay? We're putting our linkages on.
That's true.
We had a linkage fail and we lost a plane. It was such a pain. But anyway, what I'm saying is what we'll probably do is we'll probably on the other one, maybe we'll do the 631, but we're not gonna necessarily showcase that Unbox build radio setup, but just full disclosure, that's our tentative plans. You don't have to do it that way. And if you don't care about separating out your landing landing flaps from the brakes, I'm just afraid that the deployment amount is not gonna be sufficient in terms of differential between takeoff flaps deployment and landing flap barn doors to allow for that to work right. Plus, how freaking cool is it gonna be able to put the air brakes on without actually deploying the flaps? That being said, I can also mix a switch so that the flaps act with the brakes or without. If I wanted to do that, I can do that now, okay? The other thing is you can have a fast acting brake if you'd like, as opposed to having it tied to a flap where the flap is gonna deploy slow. Now also, because it is on its own channel, you can deploy the brakes as slow or as fast as you want to deploy them, irrespective of your flaps, if you go up to the additional channel. Okay, hopefully I have waffled enough verbally that you guys understand what the choices are. Now, if you're brand new to the hobby and you're saying, good Lord, Brian, I've been doing this for 20 years and I'm just coming back, or I had a 20-year hiatus and I'm just coming back, just tell me how to bind the thing. I don't even know what binding means. This plane is probably not for you. You want to start with something a little simpler, work your way up to this. This might be your second or third plane. If you're coming back to the hobby, you already have the skills of flying a plane. And that's no BS. That's what we do here on Brian Phillips RC, is we help you guys make good decisions based on what we know from our personal experience, which is hundreds of different planes and really a lot of different setup features. We rarely have a plane that we set up that doesn't work well. I mean, there's been a couple, but it's very unusual. We usually get it done, and they work well, okay? So we're gonna do this. Now, the other thing too to keep in mind is there is a mixing board here. That mixing board is going to help to facilitate the DB9 connection. I say DB9 meaning the 9-pin connector that's either here or here respectively, so that you have the quick release wing. So all the wiring passes through that DB9, and so you don't have to mess with it, which is really nice. It's gonna be a fairly easy setup. Now, that being said, there is one zip tie that needs to be cut so that we can relieve these wires, get them out of the way. There is a lot of room in here, but not a lot of height. So, listening to my battery's beeps gives me an idea. What's the idea, camera crew?
Check and make sure that it's gonna fit before we get too much further into this.
Yep. Okay. Now, a couple things to think about. This 4006S is a little plump like yours truly, okay? It's plump because I use it.
You're talking about you, right?
I was talking about the battery. So, guys, we got to do a couple of steps before we actually dive in to the full radio setup. And I'm just going to do this in the normal order of events. That's going to get out of the package eventually. It's a spatially aware receiver, so we do have to mount it. But I want to get this stuff in. Now, unusually today, I'm going to kind of check the CG before we put in the receiver. Here's why. I want to know where the receiver needs to sit, and I don't want to redo anything. Because if this battery, one of the bad habits of all these manufacturers is they put these straps here, and then the battery ends up back here, or ends up here, and so we end up having to redo it. Not a big deal. It's not the end of the world, but it is annoying if you've built 400 or 500 of these planes. Not all of them are big like this, by the way. Some of them are easy. We just open the box. Velcro. This is supposed to be slathered onto your battery, okay? I'm gonna show you the easier way to do it. Now, again, some of you are gonna cringe and just say, come on, Brian, just put it on the battery. I'm not doing that because I don't like having Velcro all over my batteries. You may have noticed I just had Velcro on that battery. I already have Velcro on here. I could hypothetically do that. I'm not doing that. This is better because then I don't need to have Velcro. And so I can just stick this on here. It's very simple. It's very easy. It works super effectively. What is this stuff? This is called shelf liner. Do we have shelf liner in under our stuff? Show them.
Oh, no, we don't actually have it in our drawers.
That's because I stole all of it.
It got stolen by someone.
So you want to hear what happens when you have shelf liner? See how that stuff moves? If you had shelf liner in there.
You can just be careful.
We have kids.
Yes.
This stuff stops your battery smooth from slipping and sliding. You see how easy that slides? Watch this. with no pressure from a strap. It's not, if you pressurize that, I mean, I could like, you know, it's very strong. Now, if you crash, it might slip a little bit, but you know, it's a crash. So then you just take this thing that's now stuck on there and you just stick it back down. Now, the thing that's nice about this too is you can slide that way back here if you need to move the battery back. So then you keep that positive placement. Now, also these straps are very nice, high quality straps, and they are very loose, which is what you want. When they're loose like that, it makes it easier to load a battery. I'm gonna tell you something that is gonna sound controversial, but it's really not. I say things that are truthful, and a lot of times they're my opinion. If it's hard to load a battery in a plane, you will fly it a lot less. I don't think it's gonna be hard to load the battery in this plane, but I do think it's gonna be hard to fit the battery in this plane. I desperately wanna be wrong.
I desperately hope you are wrong.
I know, because here's the thing. I want this thing to be smooth, easy to fly, and easy to load the batteries in, okay? If it's not easy to fly, it's not easy to get the battery in, you're gonna fly it less. I promise you with 100% certainty, that's gonna be your outcome, okay? I'm just getting a couple of zip ties. I know we're gonna need 2 or 3 of them, but I don't know how many just quite yet. So I'm just getting, you know, a couple of these small zip ties, nothing special, some side cutters. Obviously we got the shelf liner in there. And if you guys are following along at home and you're saying, you know, Brian, this seems like a lot of details, that's what we do. So if you're hoping for a quick one and done, you're in the wrong place. Brian Phillips RC, we go big or we go home. Partly because
we are home?
We are home, yeah. Oh, dang it. Yeah, by the way, if you can stick any appenditure into this plane and get cut by the prop, you're doing better than I am. By a long shot. But let's just talk about this for a minute. There's 2 zip ties. Oh, that was just a tail that cut. Now I can separate this. This should be a pretty easy radio setup actually, especially since we're doing an 8-channel. Okay, so that's gear. They did a pretty good job of cable management. I mean, I don't have to like go in here and tape this stuff. That's not bad at all, actually.
No, it's not.
Because look at that. That is like the least messy setup I've seen in a long time. Now, I do need to be careful because this is the brake. It's not labeled. I'm just gonna go ahead and, I'm gonna put it like this so it's not connected, but it's, no, how am I gonna do that? Oh, look, a Y cable goes to the flaps, okay? Which, by the way, cool thing here, if you were gonna do a full length, every independent plug, look at that. You could actually get to them right there, which is nice. I'm not gonna do that. There's no reason to it, in my opinion. But here we go. So let's see how this battery fits in here. See what I did? I just kind of tentatively strap it on there. Now I think this thing's gonna have to be flat like this to fit. And you do add, let's call it 1 millimeter of height, or, you know, maybe not quite that because of the shelf liner, because you have one more potential little squishy member that has to be in there. Okay, so now I'm gonna take this, I'm gonna press down and strap. This might become a headspace issue, so I'm gonna slide that around. That's why I like when these straps are so easy to slide, because then you can get in there and just torque that thing in there. And it's so easy, guys. Look at that. F-18's always so hard. A-10's always so hard because it's like such a tight cavity and there's a lot of height. So the battery drops down in there. Lots of room, but the trade-off is it's a pain in the butt to load the battery, okay? So I'm just gonna drop this in here. Obviously we can get to the plug, that's no problem there. Obviously, we're gonna have to put this thing in here, which is gonna go back to the receiver. But like I said, guess what we're doing now? Totally uncharacteristically. Oh, thank God, it fits. It fits. All right, if it fits, you know what I'm doing. You know what I'm doing.
Testing a bigger battery?
Would you please tell the people what I'm gonna do?
A 7? Are you gonna get a 7 or a 5?
No, I'm gonna stick a 5,000.
Okay.
This one's also a little plump. It's seen better days. Might have been the abusive way I've treated it. Just
I
like
can't believe
my
that battery
abdomen
fits in there.
I know, I can't believe it does
I'm
either.
shocked.
So listen, guys, what we're doing now is we're doing the due diligence. Now, I don't know where that's gonna sit.
Yeah,
but
so we're still gonna
we're
check
gonna come
CG.
back to that.
Okay.
Yeah, but I just want to see if the 5 fits.
How much bigger
This is
that?
this is a 50. The 100Cs are actually about the same size. And by the way, you guys know the C ratings are a bunch of BS on most of these batteries anyway. So I'm not sitting here, I'm not, you know, proselytizing that this is correct. That's not what I do. That's not what we do on Brian Phillips RC. I do like Spectrum smart batteries, but I'm gonna tell you what, if there's an area where Spectrum smart batteries are not amazing, it would be in EDF environments, but not on 80s. They do okay on 80s. Where they get beat up is on twins, okay? And that's just what we've experienced. That's why I end up with these batteries beat to you know what.
After that battery's life, it's probably like a 11C. Does it get worse over time, the C rating?
No. The C rating was never 50 to begin with. That's the key. Okay, look.
Oh, man.
I think the height is about the same though. Now, I'm not saying that's tight, and it doesn't need to be for the function of this test.
Right.
But 5006S is in the hole. Now, let's see if it closes. Oh, please close.
Did it clip? Yeah.
It's on there.
It's in there.
It's in there. Okay, that is some very good news. So we're gonna pop this. That is some very good news. That means, let's mark CG.
Okay.
We're doing this somewhat out of order. Yes, of course, there's gonna be some, you know, linkages and the receiver and a couple of wires might change position, but really at the end of the day, we're gonna end up with almost exactly the same points. The other thing too is, just full disclosure, off camera, I'll probably go in and put some select decals on because those decals are sweet.
And while you're talking about it,
Yeah.
on the very last page,
Yep.
it gives you the numbering
Yep.
and then can you turn because I'm holding onto the CG with my other finger.
It
does
tells
tell
you exactly where to
they
put
go.
them. And good Lord,
That is a lot
that is
of
a
decals.
lot of decals.
And they are wet decals.
They're wet.
Yep. Okay, CG. 180 to 190.
Good Lord. I can't even measure that far back. Why didn't they start from the back of the wing? Is it marked already? Oh, is that the button? Is that the release button?
Is it really?
I can't tell. It sure looks like it is.
It says marked a location on the top of the
Guys, listen, manufacturers, if you're listening, which I doubt you are, most people's calipers don't even go that big, okay? Look, I'm at, oh, hold on. 153 is as far as I can go. Okay, so that means we have to do a 2-part run. Okay, so we're gonna go 150 and then we're gonna do 30 to 40. Okay. Good Lord. And that's from the inboard portion of the wing. There is plastic, so that's at least good to measure from. Okay, so we're gonna go 150. So I'm just gonna dial in 150 so I get a good reference. So annoying that they did it that way, but it's not the end of the world. It's just frustrating. Okay, so 150 puts us right there, but that's not the center of gravity. Now we need to go 30 more. So I'm gonna go 30 to 40, right? Mm-hmm. Okay, so I'm gonna dial in 30. So if you guys haven't figured out, that's 150 plus 30 be 180. Good Lord, that's way back there. Okay, so there's the first point. And then I'm gonna go 10 more. So I'm gonna go to 40, and I'm just gonna do 40, and then I'm gonna double check my math with 10. Okay, so here's 40, that's close enough. Okay, so from the 150, there's the second mark. Okay, you guys see what I did there? I made my little bump, and I made it pretty big on this plane, like really big, because I wanted to hide it in this black mark. Mm-hmm. So I can feel that real easy. I'm not even looking, and I can feel that, okay? So now the other thing is, I'm just gonna tell you right now, that does not line up with, guess where the CG goes? If I measured that right, that's dang near where the canopy closes, okay? According to the specs in the manual. Now also, plane stand, be careful you don't hit your air brakes, but then also you wanna leave room for your landing gear. So I probably need to move this back yet a little bit further so that I can, now that it's built, just be careful. You don't want to deploy the gear and you don't want to deploy air brakes and have your plane get damaged. You also don't want it to fall off the plane stand. You guys see what I'm talking about? Here's the trick of the day, guys. I tip the plane up like this because I'm an old guy. I'm not even that old, but I'm old enough, okay?
Yep.
I'm not getting any younger, that's for dang sure. And so my back bothers me all the time because I like tacos too much. Okay, so here we go. We're gonna go to this point. Can you go over my left shoulder for this one? Mm-hmm. I am looking at this spot right here, guys. You're always wondering what spot you're looking at. I'm going right there at that seam. You guys see that seam where the plastic meets? That's what I'm calling the front of the wing, not this. Because there's always a sweep on wings. And so I assume the manufacturer is talking about a valid break point. Okay, I wish they would not measure from this. It's always ambiguous. Okay, so if I measured from here, guess what? I'm 150s at a totally different spot, okay? So what I do is I like to kind of lay this down when I can see really good, and then I just follow up. This silver makes it really hard to tell, like real hard to tell. So I just walk it up, and I use my eyeball. I make a real light dent, barely any, then I can go back to my 30 to 40, okay? This is gonna be my double cross-reference check here, guys. So if you guys are anything like me, you're gonna check once, and then you're gonna repeat, and then you're gonna verify. Now, does that look the same? It looks pretty dang close to me. Now I'm gonna go 40. And you're probably thinking to yourself, Brian, you know, I know how to mark this stuff. Okay, so bear with me, because what I'm doing here is not for you. It's for the guy that doesn't know how. Now, if you don't know how to mark CG on a plane, then my guess is you're probably not getting this plane. That's admittedly a good argument. But at the end of the day, what we're here to do on Brian Phillips RC is try to get people back in the hobby and get people in the hobby. If you're brand new to the hobby and you're starting with this plane, get ready for failure. Don't do it. It will be a massive failure, okay? This might be the best flying plane ever, but don't start with an EDF. It's too much for most beginners. Even if this looks like an easy to fly plane, and you may even see me fly it and think, hey, you suck as a pilot, so you should be no problem doing it. Well, you gotta remember, even if I'm not as good as other pilots, I might be better than most average beginner pilots, okay? I was a beginner pilot. When I was a beginner pilot, I would have crashed something like this really easy, okay? And that's coming from me being totally frank and honest with you, okay? So I can feel both of those bumps. Now, I got the 5,000 in here. Since it's already strapped in, let's see how it does.
Yeah.
Okay. Now, yes, again, these wires, if you really want to get picky, here's what I like to do. I will take this wire and I will put the negative to the negative so that I can simulate a connected wire. Sometimes that means that the wires go to different positions. Also, you have to remember there is going to be a receiver in here, but that's like probably 15 grams. It's not very much, okay? And also there's going to be some clevises, okay? So I'm just gonna put this down and see if I have any problems, which I don't. I can feel the pressure from that cable. But gear up, normally I check with gear down, okay? Why do we check with gear down, you might ask? Because that's where you're landing. That's the critical moment. That's tail heavy on the front holes, and it's perfect on the back holes. Well, that's probably what you want for this plane on a maiden voyage. Here's why. Typically, with a plane, okay, see how I've got my air brakes free? And then my nose gear is totally covered. So I gotta go forward just a little bit more. Now I'm clearing my gear door and I'm clearing my air brakes, okay? So I'm gonna pop this. If I were to fly this right now, I think this plane would fly fine. It's gonna become very slightly more tail heavy if my receiver is here, and it is gonna go there. Here's why. I'm not pushing it back any further, okay? Unless I really find out I want to go back further, I can go back further, but I'm still going to have plenty of room up here for my receiver.
Right.
All my wires should be able to reach. There's plenty of room. It's very clean. I've got a nice board to mount to. So that's what we're going to do. You don't have to do it that way, but I suggest that you do it that way, okay? Plus then if you ever try to split out your wires and stuff like that, you just have a little less to work with that you have to Now also, just because it CG's out does not mean that you want the extra weight. Okay, 4,000 compared to 5,000 is a considerable difference. That's a 20% difference just in capacity. And so you may get a little better flight times, but you may not have the wing loading that makes the plane as fun to fly. It may not have the ups you want. But again, I'm not poo-pooing the concept of putting in a 5,000. At this point, I'm gonna have batteries charged, ready to go. But we're gonna start with 4,000 because that's what they call out. Now keep in mind, I already have my Velcro here and I can't probably fit it this way because it's got a taller profile this way. So I'm gonna have to go that way. In my case, I'm gonna go this way. I don't like putting pressure on those connectors, so I'm gonna have my Velcro and stuff here, and it's gonna push up just a little bit, okay? So the reason I'm doing that is because of the height, right? So just pull these wires out of the way. Now we can sort of check our CG for the principal battery. We were already tending to tail heavy, so I'm gonna push this forward just a little bit, and I'm gonna strap that in right about there. If you could just put a hand right here as we're doing this. Thank you. Okay, so that is really, really easy to load. Guys, I'm super thrilled that 5000 fits in there. I think the 5000 is probably gonna be a perfect fit for this plane. Okay, now I'm gonna go negative to negative again. I'm not plugging in positive because I don't wanna energize the circuit. Given that there's no receiver installed, I can't necessarily guarantee a safe condition with the ESC being terminated, okay? Right? So we got that in. Now keep in mind, we do have a little bit of hardware going back here. We have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 linkages. Just to give you an idea, we're talking about, you know, maybe 10 grams total, 20 grams. It's not enough to really make a difference, in my opinion, on this scale of plane. Remember, we do have our ordnance on there, but the ordnance should be neutral CG in most cases, okay? I'm on the front hole, and I'm on the front hole, and that thing is tail heavy. Now on the back hole, it's also tail heavy. Okay, so maybe the 5000 will get us our CG better. Maybe. That would be pretty awesome if that was the case, because that's what I lean toward anyway. Now you see I'm all the way in here, so I'm gonna go up further. I still have plenty of purchase on there, and I'm just gonna go so that it bumps. Yeah, but see, that's gonna make it hard as heck to get this in there. Yeah, because you see, you gotta have that clearance there. So I'm gonna loosen this a little bit. I'm gonna back this off just a hair. Camera crew, if you just grab all the way in the thrust tube, like seriously, put your hand in there like that, so you separate, you spread out your, there we go. So about a ½ an inch away from the end. And this is where the Velcro comes in handy. And admittedly, this can be moved to the next strap hole up. There is another middle hole. So again, I'm not sure I'm gonna take advantage of that just quite yet, because I think we're still okay on our strapping. I'll just have to strap it tighter on the front. It still drops in there. It's a little bit of a difficulty, and it goes in there fine. All right, so same thing. Guys, we're gonna flip this. I always mark my planes because the less I have to do at the flight field, the better. On the back hole, still tail heavy. On the front hole, tail heavy. So we may end up having to go to 5000 anyway, just to get our CG right. But you know what I'm gonna do? I'm gonna defer to, let's use our best judgment when we're done. Because I do not want to push this in, show the people how close we are. I can probably go up to that bulkhead, but if I did that, I would have to somehow relieve this. Yeah. I don't think that's going to work well. And the thing is, if you really want it to be up forward, you're going to have to be back just a little teeny bit like that. That makes me a little nervous, okay? So that means if you have a 4000 milliamp hour battery, it may not CG out all the way. Okay, so guys, if you're hearing what I'm laying down, you may end up going to 5000 anyway, okay? That means your wing loading is gonna go up a little bit. Keep in mind, the battery is a pretty considerable percentage of the weight of an airplane. So if you add a lot of extra capacity on a pack, especially on a jet, you may lower your performance to an undesirable level. So we're gonna have 4000s ready, but I think we're gonna get 5000s charging, so we'll come right back. All right, so now we know where the receiver is gonna go. So we've got some 5000 milliamp hour batteries charging. We have a couple 50Cs and 100C ready to go, okay? So we're gonna get those charging. Now our next move is of course getting this thing mounted, but I don't like mounting these things until I have them wired. So really what that means is our next move is to go ahead and get the profile made in the radio system. Now why do we have to do that? Because once you get the profile set up, you're gonna know where everything hooks up on the monitor mode. And so we will, you can leave it at an angle, that's fine. So what we're gonna do is we're gonna go ahead and turn on our NX10. We're gonna hit cancel and back. Sorry, I gotta turn it away. Add new model. And we're gonna choose an acro and we're gonna create. We'll slide that forward so you don't bump it. So it does take a little bit longer when you have like hundreds of models in your transmitter. I think we have like 200 and something, 210. Because like 187 and then like 40.
Yeah, because then there's some duplicates.
All right, so now we have the model select already done. Model type is already set. Model name is where we're gonna type it in. So this is gonna be the 80mm F-86 Sabre, and we'll type that in and come right back. Okay, so this one's gonna be the yellow version. So like I said, we'll have the red, white, and blue one. So we'll probably put like red, white, and blue or something like that. But that way we could differentiate between the models in case we don't build that with this same setup, okay? Maybe we'll find out it just makes better sense to just tie the brakes together. I don't know. Aircraft type. Okay, so we want to do one aileron, one flap, and then the same normal type of tail. We're going to select an image. It'll probably be, what do we have? Do we have a jet? We'll just have to do the hubbo. Okay, flight mode setup. Okay, so we do need to set up a flight mode on switch D in this case. And the spoken flight mode, we'll set this up. So basically, remember, this is just a label for the audio event and then what displays on the screen. So this one's going to be cancel, cancel, and then it's going to be AS3X is what we're going to set up here. Okay, so we have AS3X. That'll show up on the main display when the switch is in this condition. So that's going to be AS3X when we set it, but right now it's just a label for the switch condition. Okay, we'll scroll way down to here and come back. Okay, so we found AS3X mode. Then this one's going to be off, so we'll just go in here and then cancel, cancel, and we'll scroll in off. By the way, real quick before we shut the camera off, this is the legacy keyboard. You may not be using the legacy keyboard. I like this. It's in system setup. It's a lot easier to use, in my opinion, than the alternative offering, which is like a new keyboard style. I hate that thing. It's so hard to use.
No, you just hate change.
No, I hate that thing. I've used it. It's terrible. I tried using it. It was the worst thing in my life ever. Okay, so now we're going to set this one up to safe. Even though we'll probably never use safe, we'll at least have it so we can show you how it works. Oh, cancel, cancel. So we'll come right back. All right, so safe, sensor-assisted flight envelope. And it's, again, all the way down here. We'll come right back. Okay, so we got safe. Okay, to be totally clear, that is a label. This is the audio event is a label based on the switch condition and the flight mode, okay? Now, channel assign, I want to deselect that from aux2. aux2 has already been, set up with switch B, but we want switch B to work for flaps here. So switch B is gonna be for flaps, which is gonna be set up in flap mode, okay? aux2 is probably going to be used for something else because we technically need air brakes somewhere. So I'm kind of thinking about this because we want to make sure we're on, let's leave it on inhibit. Excuse me. So up here on 9 and 10, we can go ahead and make an assignment to either flight mode or switch D, okay? So, and then I'm going to set this one, I want to deselect right knob and I want to reselect right knob up top, okay? Because I'm not going to use my sliders for anything on this model, but you could hypothetically do that. Okay, so throttle's obviously going to be designated, ailerons are going to be designated, elevator's going to be designated, rudder's going to be designated, retracts will be gear switch, which is fine on switch A. Auxiliary 1 will be flaps on switch B. Auxiliary 2 is going to be nothing yet. I have to decide between aux2 and aux3. So probably aux2. Let's go ahead and set up aux2 to, and I'm torn. Do I want to set it up on C or do I want to reserve thrust reverse for if we'd ever add thrust reverse? I think we add thrust reverse and braking. Oh, it's so tough. Because I think about the type of flight behavior, the pilot fatigue setting and everything that we would normally set here on the all the way back toward our belly. It'd be nice to have the brakes like part of the way out and then all the way out.
You're going to be doing that sometimes at the same time that you're hitting flaps, right?
No, because I'll have the air brakes deployed. And see, that's part of the reason why FMS assumes you're going to share the flaps and the air brakes. Because on full landing flaps, if you have a separate channel, you could still tie that into the landing setting where they deploy. And that's fine, but I would like to be able to control them, set where they're going to deploy to, and then have that actuate when the landing flaps come on. But what if I want to do a slow pass and I don't want air brakes out? I don't know. That's going to be a distinguishing factor in aerodynamic performance. It's going to change the way the plane flies. So I want it separate. Okay, so why don't we set it to switch C? Okay, so aux2 is going to ultimately be my air brakes. Okay?
Do you want to leave right knob on aux3 like it would normally be?
No, well, no, because I want to save that for, in fact,
pluggable.
I'm going to set it to switch G right now.
Okay.
Because if and when you add thrust reverse, if you ever do an AV and ESC, you can then use that to activate the thrust reverse, and that would be in the normal place that I'm used to. And by the way, when you set up a radio system, especially if you're following my instructions, try to start committing to something that you can live with. If you hate the way I set it up, I completely get it. I went to an RC event in Birmingham, Alabama at Bigfoot. It was super cool, but boy, I tell you what, every time I flew a plane, switches were all over the place. It was so hard for me to do that. And yeah, sure, the primary control surfaces on a mode 2 are gonna be in the same place. But I tell you what, having flaps just on random switches all over the place, like nobody ever seemed to know where anything was, which drives me nuts.
And every person was like, well, my throttle cut's here and the flaps are here. And I was like, how are you ever going to remember that?
That's right.
Because it's not what you're used to.
So at the end of the day, it becomes a preference issue. And so please hear that in the right way. We're not trying to beat you up if you do it differently, but whatever you do it your same way. And do not expect me to know. I will not know. We talk to hundreds of thousands of people about their radio setup. I will not remember your radio setup. So don't expect me to. Now, I'm just one guy, and you might watch 4 or 10 guys on YouTube. You could maybe remember that. But 100,000, no, you're never gonna remember that. So I've replied to hundreds of thousands of comments and thousands of radio setup questions. So it's gonna be almost impossible for me to remember. So with respect, I can't do that physically. So that being said, we know where things are gonna land now, so we can go ahead and get this installed, but let's go ahead and finish the radio setup as far as we can. Okay, so we're gonna come back out. Okay, once it boots, you can see the AS3X off and safe labels. And then you can also go in and we're gonna set up dual rates in Expo. This is just, again, preference issues do come up a lot in RC. And so I don't mean to say something that is divisive here, but I'm just gonna tell you the way I do things are on a very basic entry level way. You can get way more sophisticated, and I don't want you guys to take offense if I do something a little bit different. It's not meant to be offensive. It's meant to be a starting point for the layman or a starting point for the person that's coming back to the hobby. I wanna get them in the air, help them get the plane back down to the ground, and then they can make adjustments accordingly, okay? So these are the same settings. And you're like, but why are you tying the elevator, rudder, and ailerons all to switch F? What if you need to just change the rudder? Well, then you're gonna change all 3 until you get landed. Then you can make your adjustments to that setting. But just keep in mind, here's what I want. And I'm not saying you want it this way, but I'm saying this is the way I suggest you do it. And if you don't follow my suggestions, you're likely to have a bad outcome if you're not aware of how to do this. When you set up a plane, you have all this stuff going on, and you have a brand new plane. You have the master gains not really dialed in on the first flight. The maiden, which by the way, if you didn't connect the dots yet, when you see Brian Phillips RC flying, it is a maiden flight, almost always. Probably 50% of the flights you see, it's the first time I ever flown that plane. So there's a certain amount of risk that comes with every maiden flight, okay? And so when you see me, you're like, oh man, I can fly better. You probably can because you've flown 47 times on that plane. When I've flown this plane 47 times, I guarantee it's gonna be better than my maiden flight, okay? Unless I'm flying in turbo conditions. So we need a way to get that plane in the air, make it look good, and get it on the ground. So when you see me overshoot the runway or kind of come off to the side or off to the other side, a couple things to keep in mind. 275-foot runway, and that's including a little uphill and down, and that is not a straight shot either way. We have obstructions on both sides. We have kind of a channel on one direction, a little bit of an uphill slope, and our prevailing winds usually go up and down the main runway with a 30% offset. And then every once in a while, we got a 90% offset. That's what our crosswind strip is gonna be so good for. dead calm is gonna be perfect for that, which we're digging a pond out here if you guys didn't already know it. If you haven't seen the details, check it out. We're gonna have all sorts of stuff about it at some point, but it's gonna be super cool and you guys will wanna see it. But anyway, for the meantime, when you have all of your flight controls tied to one basic, overarching, quick decision, this is more touchy, normal, less touchy. I almost never change this. But if I realize it's just really touchy on the elevator, if I can't get it to the ground, I need to be able to deaden the sticks a little bit. Okay, so I can do that. Now, alternatively, because we have AS3X and safe involved on this, we could turn safe on and we can have auto leveling, but I found that doesn't necessarily help me land because of our tight opening that we're flying into. Now, if you're out at a big flying field with wide open spaces on either end of your runway, you can turn safe on and land just about anything, okay? So, getting back to the point, I want quick, reliable, one switch. What happens if it's too touchy on the roll axis? Then I'm gonna go to more deadened on all three axes, and then guess what I'm gonna do? I'm gonna come in here when I land, and I'm gonna scroll over to the aileron, and I'm gonna say, okay, I wanna make this my normal setting, okay? So then I make the middle setting 20, and then I make this one 40. Maybe I drop that to 75, and I drop the rates to 90 here. And then up here, I change that from 5 up to 10. So I have a halving and doubling effect, okay? So half, neutral, double, where we drop the rates down. So like I said, then you take your second flight and you say, wow, that fixed the problem. Or no, that didn't fix the problem, it's not enough. Well, then you can go up a little bit more and you just make incremental changes. If you're smart about it, you'll get it done in the first couple of flights. But just keep in mind, EDF jets, they will trick you. You will get into it. You will get excited and you will make a mistake like clipping a tree and losing a J11 because you lost 10 seconds of thrust. Oh, it's so annoying. And it happens to the best of us. Just remember, don't get so excited that you forget to make the adjustments that are necessary to make the plane fly, okay? And don't forget to just get the adjustments in. If the plane flies good, you'll be able to fly it all day long. And even if you have a dead stick landing at the last second, it's easier to manage, okay? Give yourself an out. That's why we do what we do on that switch, okay? One switch. If you did that switch, then this switch, then that switch, good Lord, you're gonna be so bogged down by everything. You're gonna be pilot fatigued out. And I can tell you this, there are pilots that are plenty capable of figuring out what 3 switches do. But it's not just 3 switches, it's 3 switches, plus where's flaps, where's gear, where's reverse thrust, where's air brakes, where's throttle cut, where's master gain.
While you're flying.
While you're flying, yeah, give me a break. I mean, you're human, okay? So that being said, thrust reverse is managed. I'm not even gonna set up thrust reverse on this plane, but I have it designated and ready to go, okay? Brakes are over here right now. Flaps, gear. You know why it's easy for me to remember? Because I do the same thing on every plane. Unless, of course, there's no retracts, and then I might apply safe and AS3X back here because it's easy to get to. But I'm kind of getting away from that now because I find myself trying to retract the gear like an idiot when I take off a plane that has fixed gear.
And then you turn safe on accidentally.
And then it goes, and it looks weird. Okay. Now, what else do we have to do? Okay, so enough about dual rates and expo. Again, that is a highly subjective matter, and we are gonna have safe in AS3X, so it's gonna help anyway. Throttle cut. Wanna turn that on. I wish it was on by default. Okay, we look down here. It says -100. I move the throttle stick. It doesn't change. That means it's working. Throttle cut's now off. I move the stick. It moves throttle. So throttle cut's down, throttle cut's on, and tested. Okay? That way I don't chop off a ding-a-ling or something that I stick all the way up in there. And like I said, if you can reach that, you're doing better than I can.
That's way
up there.
Up there.
All right, so throttle cut, throttle curve we're not messing with. Digital switch setup we would do if we were doing thrust reverse because you have to reverse the output of that, and it's kind of weird. We'll get into that if we ever set that up on this plane. Flap system, I'm gonna make an association to switch B, and I'm gonna set the speed to, it's a big plane, I might go to 3, but I'm gonna do 2 for now. And I'm not gonna set anything on the compensation or on the flaps yet. You know why we do that? Because I don't wanna overdrive the servos. They're not even hooked up yet, so we should be okay. Remember guys, we gotta put on all the control arms.
Yep.
Okay, so no big deal. All right, so we'll come back to that. Obviously mixing we're not gonna do. Timer, we're gonna set a timer. Did they say a timer?
Nope.
Probably not, it's an FMS. So we're gonna go to like, whoops, countdown. We're gonna go 3 minutes, and that's all we're gonna do with a 1 out over 25%. Starts the timer, counts down from 3 minutes. That's gonna keep us alerted. At 1 minute, I want a voice call out. At 20 seconds, I want nothing. At 10, I want a voice countdown. At expiration, I want tone and vibrate with the tone every minute thereafter. But that's not to say that we're gonna get 3 minutes of flight, because get this, when I'm done with this setup, we're gonna be able to scroll further to the right, and we're gonna have telemetry data that's gonna be supported by this plug right there, going into that plug right there. And that's gonna give us pack voltage. So we'll show you how to do that. And so really at this point, we have the radio system most of the way set up. We have to set up flaps, obviously, but we can't really do any more until we get this all out. So let's talk about this wire real quick. What is this wire? This wire is a 1S micro pH connector right there, just like a 1S battery that you'd get in an ultra micro from years past. And it's just basically a positive and negative lead that's gonna go in parallel to your battery lead. So this is a pretty long lead. It will be about right. And what I like to do is I like to take it up here and protect this end so you don't yank it out. These are very hard to fix and they're very easy to break, so don't do that. If you want to do this super fast, what you could do is you can get a drill, put this wire into the chuck, and then run the drill. Zzz, and it'll twist this up and make a tight little braid. But for now, what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna do this all the way down the length, and I'm just gonna do a quick twist because cable management saves planes' lives. I just made that up.
I thought that was power.
Yes, airspeed, power, that too. But you see what I've done there? I just over twist and then relax it, and look at that beautiful piece of work. So I'm just gonna do that all the way down the length, and we'll come right back. All right, so nothing special here. We basically have a nice little braided cable. I like to give it a couple extra twists when I'm all said and done, and then give it a nice tug. And then look at that, beautiful. Why don't they do that from the factory? Good question for Spectrum. Okay, so we're gonna take this thing out. Obviously, these leads are always to be protected because they are your antennas. Yes, not antennae. Antennae are on animals. I had somebody teach me that once. We've learned a lot of different things over the years that we have been saying wrong for years, and then people correct us. That's one of the best things about YouTube is if you're willing to learn, then there's a lot of people that are a lot smarter than you out there, and I'm probably not one of them. But those people help me learn things too. Okay, so we take it out of the package. There is a book in there. I'm just gonna lay that out of the way. I don't necessarily need it because I've set these up a number of times, okay? So as you can see, we have a bind button, okay, push button. We have 2 antennas. Remember, this is a transceiver. It's a transmitter and a receiver. This is a transceiver. It is not just a transmitter, it is also a receiver, okay? So don't forget that when you're looking at these devices. Now, this is gonna plug in here, and it's gonna indicate volts to us. And you can tell by where that rail is, that little rib, what direction it goes by lining it up with the micro pH connector. Okay, there it is, done. See how nice that works? And I'm gonna just give it a couple half turn more twist or so, just to get that. And it says volt right there. There's X bus there, and there's SRXL2, not to be confused with SRXL, okay? So then this, and this have to be dealt with. So as we make decisions, we're gonna continue to make decisions based on what we know and what we've learned and what we've set up. We don't have any of the control arms installed on this plane, and it doesn't matter. I'm just gonna lay this radio down. Obviously, we need to have the battery plug ready to go at some point, but we're just gonna carefully put this out of the way. I don't wanna damage all the edge of my foam. So then I'm gonna just pull this stuff out. It's gonna be a really quick radio setup once we're coming to this stage. And you see how these wires are passing across in kind of a stupid spot? Well, it's always gonna be that way, so you might as well get used to it. So what I'm thinking I'm gonna do is I'm gonna try to pass this. I don't want this to go into the EDF, okay? So we're not gonna pass the wires into the EDF area because this is where the EDF is, okay? So I might take one of these. These need to be at 90 degrees of each other. That's 90 degrees. That's 90-ish degrees, okay? That's 90 degrees. That's not 90 degrees. That's perpendicular. That's not 90 degrees, okay? So you guys get the feeling? So that's gonna be mounted right there. I think that's the easiest way. It's gonna work well. And you're like, but that's not centered, Brian. It doesn't matter if it's centered. If it's centered, that's fine. It doesn't really make a difference. It's not gonna matter. Trust me, I've seen the planes with these things not centered a million times. And when I say a million times, that's a slight exaggeration, but yes, a million times. Okay, so you see where that's going? That looks like a pretty much perfect spot. The only thing I don't like about it is putting pressure on other cables, but I wanna protect this preferentially, which is my antenna cable, okay? Which is coaxial media. Coaxial media is like an RG6 that you get from the cable company. Okay, there's gonna be a sheath on the outside, and then there's gonna be some sort of a, like an insulative core, and then there'll be a wire that goes through it. Sometimes there's biaxial media where there's two in there. But the idea is you don't want to kink it, you'll break that interior cable. Okay, so don't kink it, that's not good. Okay? Now, that one's gonna go this way, the other one's gotta go some other direction, okay? So we can actually pass both of these through if we wanted, and then one of them can go vertical here if we wanted. I think what's gonna work best is I'm gonna just try to pass that through, and I'm gonna get myself, oh, my forceps are over there.
Yeah. How are you gonna mount the receiver to the board?
Well, I gotta get this positioned first. I'm torn. I'm a little bit tempted to use just double-sided tape because it'll work fine, but it is a little bit tempting to just glue it. We've been having good luck doing that, and it's just so dang easy. China glue works every time I try it. The other thing I had thought about was China glue and this, hon. Because like I only have so much double-sided tape, and that stuff is really good. The shelf liner plus glue from China might work just fine. I can also use double-sided 3M tape. That works really nice. Velcro is another way to do it. But just so you guys know, Velcro allows some slop from flight to flight if you bump it, more so than a double-sided 3M tape. And you can see those pieces are getting to be pretty small compared to what I have. So then the alternative, hun, would be if I went downstairs and just literally got a piece of 3M tape, which we could do. I wanna try something different on this one. We're gonna go ahead and we're gonna use shelf liner and we're gonna use China glue. Here's why. Because it's gonna work and it's gonna work fantastically. And FMS sells China glue. So if you guys get China glue, this stuff works really good. It's not expensive. If you're buying a plane and you don't have China glue, get some. It's just like foam to foam. It just happens to be a little cheaper. Keep in mind this bottle is slightly smaller in capacity than this one. Not a lot, but a little bit, okay? So they're close to apples to oranges. So it just depends on what site you're buying your plane from. Okay, so if you're buying this from FMS.com or from FMS Model, the link's in the video description below, then you can get this while you're buying it. If you're buying it from a Horizon site, because they do sell FMS stuff, then you could buy this at the same time, but you won't be able to get this on the same order. So just trying to save you a buck or two. We do have supplies linked. Now, I happen to have another, see this stuff? That's not opened yet, and you've just got one of these Pierce caps. So I am going to go ahead and use the rest of another China glue. Full disclosure, it's the same or very similar formula. This is a China glue gift I got. Do you remember that gift we got? And then I have an even smaller tube, so we'll use a smaller tube just to get rid of it. This stuff does have a shelf life. It won't last forever, but it lasts a long time in the aluminized tubes. If they're in plastic tubes, like Hobby King sells an offering called Fuselage, it dries out before you can even get to it, so don't buy too much of it. It will dry out before you literally take the cap off because they're all opened.
And it's a plastic tube.
Yep, that's right. Now, this is shelf liner. All it's gonna do is basically be a piece of foam for us.
Are you gonna plug stuff in though before you mount that, or are you gonna go ahead and mount it now? 'Cause normally.
What came first, the chicken or the egg? I don't know. We're probably splitting hairs at this point. I should just get the dang thing mounted, don't you think? Okay, the reason I'm mounting it before I hook up my wires is just for the simple fact that I wanna get this glue setting up, okay? So how am I gonna do this? This is gonna be very, 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 very simple, okay? Very simple.
Are you sure?
I'm gonna take some China glue. China. I'm gonna spread that, I'm gonna slather that, delicious stuff. Now, normally I would have come prepared with a Q-tip because I always have like 2 or 3 on me.
Terrible.
But today I was out of Q-tips, evidently.
You should be embarrassed.
I know. I usually have one in my pocket at all times in case I need to spread some glue.
Gross.
I'm kidding. I don't do that. That would be hilarious, though. Okay, so we're going to spread the glue, guys. Spread it. Now, this stuff becomes like a contact cement. Okay, so real super simple. Now, you could just glue the receiver down. You'd probably be fine, okay? Now, the best thing you can do is you can just let that dry to a certain extent.
You mean to hold that?
No.
Okay.
Now, I'm just going to slather a little bit of goop on here. This is almost out, so it's kind of awkward to use at the very end, okay? So now what I'm going to do is I'm going to slather that delicious stuff right here. And by the way, yes, there is label information there. Oh, by the way, I know some of you guys are thinking about remote ID as we get closer to the enforcement date. If you guys are curious about remote ID and you have no clue what I'm talking about, trust me, if you don't know what I'm talking about, just pretend I didn't say anything. Yeah. You don't even want to know. Yeah. But
if you already know,
if you want to be compliant, remote ID, the remote ID module from Spectrum is going to work with NX and IX transmitters, but I don't know if it's going to work as a telemetry feature with the DX lineup. Yep. And the only reason I know that is because I just saw an email this week and I'm only bringing it up. I hate bringing that stuff up. I am not some sort of a spokesman for the FAA. I'm pissed at them just like you guys. And I think what they're doing is borderline criminal. And I hope somebody sues them into oblivion for this remote ID insanity. Okay? But anyway, it is what it is, guys. Not that it matters. Nobody asked my opinion, and I don't want to be the test case.
But they did ask your opinion. Didn't they ask for all this feedback? And
oh, actually, you know, really it's funny that you say that, camera crew. Anyway? They did ask and then completely ignored it. 100% of the opinions. They got 50, what was it, like 50 some odd thousand responses?
Yeah, at least.
And pretty much all the responses were like, you have pretty much screwed the pooch on everything you did here, FAA, but yeah, they go ahead and do it anyway.
Right.
That is what the FAA has always done, both with full scale and basically anytime. They're an out of control bureaucracy. They're not quite as bad as the ATF, but they're almost
Maybe
there.
we could unelect them. Oh, wait.
Oh, wait. Oh, that's right, because they're not elected. Yeah. So anyway, sorry. Enough about politics, guys. We promise we'll get off of that and move on to the next thing. But we just wanted to talk about remote ID for just 2 seconds because it is coming. We are planning on reviewing the remote ID. Obviously, like while we're waiting on some applications to go through, we're probably going to have to be using that for at least the interim portion. Now, I want to talk about antennas again. So enough about remote ID. I don't mean to be a downer. Okay, so pass this under. Remote ID is not going to be the end of the hobby, no matter how much. It's kind of like this. You know, it's not going to end the hobby. It's just going to be a difficulty that we have to bear. It's just going to add a burdensome level of frustration for the people that are really invested in this hobby. And the thing is, it's going to make it a little bit harder for people to start. And so really the FAA, as usual, kind of like setting age limits for pilots. If you can be 100 years old and be the president of the United States, you can be a freaking pilot at any age. I'm sorry. So look at this, guys. I'm going to pass this through. See what I did? See what I did there? Pretty amazing, right? You guys see that? Now, I didn't get enough penetration there. Oh yeah, that's pretty good penetration right there. Now, what's that gonna do? That's gonna be a 90-degree going in here. And I wanna get past the 28 millimeters of exposure. And then I'm just gonna make a nice smooth sweep. I'm not gonna go super steep. And that is a little bit steeper than I like. Hey, you realize you're sticking to the side there?
To the tape?
Not to tape, to glue. I'm gonna use an X-Acto knife to complete this task. That's always scary when I say that. So guys, I don't know if you've ever seen it. There's a guy on YouTube. He did like surgery on himself to cut a tattoo off. I watched it once and I'm like, what the heck am I watching? But anyway, it's crazy the things you'll see on YouTube. But this guy's like a literal surgeon. Or some sort of thing, I don't know. So he knew what he was doing, I guess. But, so I'm gonna actually pull this back out real quick. And then all I wanna do is just protect my wiring. So I'm gonna take and I'm just gonna cut a channel. You see I'm at a steep angle, very steep angle, okay? Then I'm gonna make a channel. And then this channel is just gonna give me a little place to pass my wire through. Now this might seem like I'm kind of, you know, getting into the weeds a little bit here, folks. And that's normal. That's what we do on Brian Phillips RC. We get in the weeds, but I'm going to tell you something. When I'm in the weeds, I'm going to give you good advice, and I hope that you'll listen to my advice. It's not always, some of it's subjective, obviously, especially about politics stuff, unless it comes to remote ID, and then I'm right, and everybody else is, if you disagree with me, you're wrong. Just kidding, guys. Except that I'm right. So this is going to now be 90 degrees. So where does 90 degrees reside on this? I'm just going to pass it along here if I can get it through, which is kind of fighting me a little bit. Now remember, we're going to tape this thing back shut in just a second. Okay. Okay, so you see where that ended up? Nothing magical about that. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to take this, and one other beautiful thing about having forceps is that I can take that at a slight angle. I can clamp that in, and then again, I can break that. Now, I know it hurts my soul to break this because the value in that is now wasted. So now I'm going to take this and I'm going to stab this in. Oop. I got to go narrower like this. You guys see what I just did there? Now I can take this. Watch what I'm doing here, camera crew. See this? Now I'm going to pass that in. I'm going to make that pass through, and that's going to give me a channel by which to poke my antenna. Now I'm not going to clamp on this. I'm going to go very gentle, just using it to pass it through and just pushing that in. Now the full 28 millimeters of penetration would be better, but you see I'm out of length. Okay. So then what I need to do is I need to basically push this antenna with just the tip of the forceps. I'm not actually going to bite it at all. Okay. Okay, you see what I did there? All right, pretty simple. Now I'm gonna take this tape. By the way, this tape, this fiber reinforced tape is nice stuff. If you need some, FMS also sells rolls of it. So if you guys ever need supplies like that, look no further than brianphillipsrc.com. We'll have links, but I always suggest that stuff while you're ordering a brand new latest and greatest plane like the F-86. And I think it would be very wise for you to do that, so you can save a little bit of money on shipping. Okay, so now you're gonna notice that that peeled off of there already. And that's okay because the glue is not totally tacked up yet. So I'm just gonna see. Remember, this was a bit of an experiment. If we're wrong in that, we will communicate. You see how it's pulling? I just pull it a few times, and you see how it's getting stuck further and harder and better each time? That's the way that contact cement works. And that contact cement really does a good job of holding, and you'll be surprised that that should not break free after you've released it a couple of times and restuck it, okay? Now, the only thing I'm not crazy about is just the way that this antenna is still not totally protected, but I think we're okay with the way we did that. Do you guys see my concern? I don't think the canopy goes down this low, but I'm not like a big fan of the way that turned out.
Can you just tape over that whole opening?
No. I'm gonna double this back. Just gonna pull that back very carefully. I don't like it being on the other side, actually. I'll come over here and do it. Sometimes we have to make adjustments to our best laid plans, folks. There we go. So I'll just pull that back. There we go. I'd rather have it there. It just makes me feel less nervous because I'm afraid somebody's gonna put a finger in there and damage it. Okay. Okay. And then you see these antenna, they're back here, they're protected enough for what we're doing, okay? Now we still have 90 degrees and straight, so we're good. Now some of you might think, hey, go to the other side. That wouldn't be a terrible idea, but I don't think it's a big issue. It's not like we're dealing with a carbon fiber body or anything where you're gonna have lots of interference and blockage of signal. But if you're curious, or if you wanted to do that, you could take that one that's going straight, you could run it over here and run it on the other side. But again, I'm trying to get the cable management done kind of all at one fell swoop. And I'm still not 100% sure I'm sold on the way we did that. That is not sticking as good as I'd hoped. I'm still not sure there, camera crew. What are your thoughts?
I'm surprised that it's...
I thought it was gonna stick like perfectly.
Is it old China glue? Not enough China glue?
You know, I wonder if it's just not enough. Because you know what? Let's just see see, this stuff is very tacky already. Okay. So I think what I'm gonna try is I'm gonna see if it sticks. If it sticks, then it's gonna be done. And if it's not, then we may have to redo that. See, it's sticking now. Oh, I mean, you can rip it off of there if you really want it, but
it's gonna stick. I mean.
Yeah, it's gonna stay. I think we're good. I just think it's the wood. The way that the wood interacts with the glue is much different than the foam. The foam has got a very smooth surface. This is more porous, so it's gonna give a different contact adhesive response. All right, so now how does this work? We've talked about this wire, and we've got other wires that need to be landed clearly, but we ultimately need to get this landed at some point. So why don't we talk about this real quick? This is gonna go to the battery lead. Now, it does not need to go to the end of the battery lead, but it can go to the end. And typically what I do is I run this thing back so that it goes back to about where the ESC starts from. And then I just run this wire. See how I'm just literally pushing it back. I'm not doing anything special. I'm not doing anything fancy. And then what's gonna happen is I'll be allowed then to twist this to where it gets where I need it, okay? So I'll leave a little bit of extra, and I just wanna have a strain relief so that the wire doesn't break free, okay? And then I'm gonna pierce this into the covering, and I'm not gonna solder it or anything. It's just a very basic setup, very, very what some might call half-assed, and it's perfectly fine. It's a full-ass solution because it's really not that hard, and it just works, okay, guys? So you're probably thinking to yourself, why don't you just solder it? Well, because these things are like really kind of difficult to tear apart in my experience. And so all I'm gonna do is I'm gonna do that. Did I already throw away my toothpick? I totally threw away my toothpick, guys. I'm gonna have to get a second toothpick on this job.
We're gonna be broke.
See this guy's toothpick, check this out. Watch this, I'm just gonna take and I'm just gonna pierce this right here. And then guess what's inside of there? A braided cable. The braided cable with very fine strands is of course going to be our positive lead, okay? Turn that light on for me. Thank you. Okay, so I'm gonna actually enter into the sheath, and then that's gonna get in, and my goal is to actually go in past the red sheath and just really get in there, okay? You guys see what I'm doing? Just get right in there, and the stupid black wire keeps getting in the way. See how I bent that tip? I hate it when that happens. Okay, so now I'm gonna go right here. And you see how I made a bigger cavity that time? Watch how much easier this works now. Watch this. Oh yeah, it's going way in deep. Good penetration, okay? All right, now, you're probably thinking to yourself, but Brian, you've got 22.6 volts or whatever it is. It doesn't matter, okay? Not even a little bit, okay? By the way, receiver, oh yeah, we're way better now. It's gonna be fine.
Okay.
So at this point, you can strain relief two ways, meaning keep the wire from getting pulled out. Well, there's more than two ways even. We'll probably just use a little electrical tape because it's super easy. And all you're doing is you're just passing enough. It's like it's like taking your meter leads and putting on a 600 volt circuit. You know, they're not gonna melt because there's no load here. This is just a test circuit, okay? So it's not like you're running an EDF on the end of this. The load is what is gonna make the current level in this wire high, okay? So in this case, it's not high because we're just testing the voltage, first of all. And so that means that the circuit has been designed and is applicable for that use, okay? So I'm gonna cut that. I'm gonna get to a fresh piece of tape. Doesn't need to be hardly any of it, okay? And then all I care about is I just don't want this wire to come out and short. That would be a bit of a problem, but I can tell you what would happen if that happened. You would basically have a big poof of black smoke. You would burn the end of the wire, and then the end of the wire would rust, it would weld, not rust weld. It would weld itself to the other one, and then it would either drain your battery and catch it on fire, or it would literally burn the tip so that there was oxidation, and then it would fail to continue to conduct. Ask me how I know. That's true. True story, guys. Mm-hmm. That's what would happen. I would demonstrate, except I don't have a battery I can destroy. I've actually shorted out. I've plugged in batteries backward when I've been working on stuff, like crazy, stupid mistakes like that. I do a lot of this, so it's, you know, you're a little bit more exposed when you do it a lot of the time, okay? Or when you do it more frequently. So folks, if you're watching this for the first time and you're like, hey, Brian Phillips RC, thanks for doing this. We really appreciate you going into such great details, painfully deep details, because nobody else takes the time to answer the questions that I didn't even know I had, except for you. We want to help support you financially because you've done this. Okay, great. If you want to help support us financially, the best way you can do it is watch the videos, smash the like button, click the bell for notifications when you're subscribing. But then above all, if you really want to help us financially, buy the planes, receivers, transmitters, batteries, the stuff we review, leaf blowers, tractors, hay balers, whatever it is that we're reviewing. I'm not exaggerating. We've done all that crap.
Yep.
You help to support us financially. And guess what's so nice about that? It's all the people we work with that help to keep us in content, that help to keep you watching our content, and then helps to keep them in business and helps to keep you guys happy because you're buying airplanes, quads, VTOLs, helicopters, ground vehicles, trucks, cars, semi-trucks, boats, everything that we've done on this channel. It's so many different things. And it's just this nice little RC ecosystem. And you support us, it helps us to build a stronger relationship with the different companies we do work with, and then we make small commissions from them. That's what an affiliate does, and that's one of the things that we do. Now, the cool thing is we still are able to tell the full truth, nothing but the truth, so help us God, because we have a lot of them. And so if one pisses us off, we just go to the next one. And if they piss us off, we go to the next one. Eventually we quit. I'm just kidding. It's not quite that easy. But the truth is, we're truthful. And that was one of our main accommodations for each and every relationship that we have fostered on Brian Phillips RC with every single affiliate has always been built on trust with our audience, because if we don't have that, we really basically don't have a channel. It is a complete waste of time at that time. So if you guys ever wondered how this thing works, it's very basic. We make videos. We work with companies that make planes. You guys see the videos, you get excited about them because we're excited about them, and then you buy stuff and they're like, hey, we want to work with that guy because he gets people excited about the stuff we want to sell so we can eat food. Okay? That's literally how it works. It's not a trick. It's not supposed to be spam. It's not any of that crap. It's just basically, I am passionate about RC. I want to see for success in RC. And so I care more about you guys as the viewer, and my wife cares more about you than the viewer than we do about FMS or Horizon or Spectrum or Hobby Zone or whoever it is that we're working with. Of course, we do care about those companies because they're making the stuff we like. I mean, look at this stuff. It's awesome. Okay? If we didn't like it, we wouldn't review it. And sometimes we do review stuff that sucks, but we share that pretty vividly.
Or if there's companies that don't do a good job, then we
let
don't
you know
work with them.
Eventually. Like,
there's still a time and place for that.
Look, see? Now we have a strain relief, and the cables will, basically, you'd have to go out of your way to unhook it, okay? So now we've got our data transmission, not our data transmission, but we're gonna have our telemetry data now. And then also, just to give you a quick update, look at that. I can move the whole plane. I can't believe that shelf liner thing works so poorly. Yeah. I think I would need to get a lot of glue on both sides, let that tack up, and then go ahead and, tack the bottom of the receiver and the plane.
Yeah.
And that would do it. All right, so now this pretty easy setup from here on out. We just basically need to literally plug in the plugs, okay? So I'm gonna go ahead and put away my knife so I don't stab myself. I've only done that a few times on camera, and yes, it does hurt and it's frustrating. Okay, so the next plug is gonna be, obviously, throttle is gonna be the first one. So this throttle line is the black, red, and white one. How do we know that? Because it's labeled as such, and then I can tell from the colors that it's throttle, okay? This is a Futaba color code. The other ones are gonna be Hextronics JR. That's why they're a different color. This is signal, that's power, DC voltage, and ground, DC reference, DC ground. So right there is minus, plus, and S for signal. So S goes up, brown goes down. In this case, black is the same as brown. So that's why I say brown is down, even though this is a red, black, and white cable. I'm gonna put the wires over here for now because the excess will probably tuck into that hole. You remember I was concerned about that hole being populated by stuff that it shouldn't have been? Okay, so this is flaps. This label is going to be a no-go because guess what? Now this is gonna plug in for flaps. Where's flaps? Throttle,
6.
1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, so 6. So now I need to go under this thing so it doesn't look like an idiot did it. And then brown is down. Channel 6. And I understand the camera crew is probably on the wrong side because you're getting blocked, but it's always hard for her because my hands changed positions a million times during a build. And so she does the best she can. What the heck is this? What is that? What is that?
Where's your end that goes to the air brake?
Oh, is that the air brake? Maybe that's the air brake. I bet that's what it is. But I don't remember the air brake being short like that. No, this is the air brake. What the heck is that? Gear? I bet that's gear because I don't see, nope, there's gear. What the heck is this?
Well, let's
retro.
Keep plugging stuff in.
Okay, we'll keep plugging stuff in. I hope it's not something else I need to know about. Okay, so this is gonna be the air brakes. So air brakes are gonna be where, camera crew?
Air brakes are gonna be 7 because they're gonna be aux 2.
Okay, brown is down. Brown is down, guys. Going into channel 7. Booyah. Okay? Then we're gonna move on to what? We're gonna do whatever we grab next, which is elevator.
So 3.
Okay, so just slide this label back just a hair. I like to flatten the cables so that they go in clean. So channel 3 here. Okay, so going under. Guys, I've had some people tell me they like watching me do cable management. I don't understand. What's wrong with you if you like this?
Because it's terrible.
It's tedious.
To do
it's tedious.
and film.
Tedious, my precious. It is hard to film, actually. Okay, so then ailerons.
2.
And channel 2 is, okay, I'm gonna go under the other wires and then brown is down. So I'm gonna flip it. You guys see how I'm flipping it so the brown is down. I'm gonna slide aileron back just a hair. I should have done that with the others as well, which I'm gonna do now just because I thought about it. Okay, so I'm gonna take this and just slide, goodness gracious, some of these labels, they slide really easy and others don't. Goodness gracious, that was terrible. Okay, so I'm gonna actually go under with this. Underwear, haha, underwear.
6.
Such a terrible joke. Brian, I can't believe you would do that. Hey Brian, you done with that plane yet? Boy, you're taking forever, aren't you? I got this toilet wine done, I'm ready for it. If you guys don't know about toilet wine yet, just wait longer. Elevator's getting unplugged too. Sorry, guys. So the toilet wine is a running joke we have that our videos are so long, only prisoners would watch the entire thing. So if you're brewing up a batch of toilet wine, welcome to Brian Phillips RC, where you can get an entire batch done in less than one video. Okay, gear, go to what channel? 5? Okay. So if you guys don't know what toilet wine is, it's a wine that's made in a toilet in prison.
Okay, is that an actual thing?
I don't know. You'd
Just
have to ask the
up.
prisoners then. Just ask our wonderful audience.
Get right on
when you gotta, there's certain people that watch the whole video. Most people don't watch our whole videos, guys. We understand that because they're long and people have things to do. We get it. Like flying airplanes, paying their bills, going to work, things like that. If you're so fortunate to have a job where you can play this in the background, please do it. And, you know, if you put it on the PA system, you surely will not irritate any of your customers when I talk about things like toilet wine.
Maybe our favorite SR-71 pilot will fill me in on toilet wine.
Oh, really? Yeah, that's right. He came up to me and he was jokingly, okay, so what is this? This is rudder on channel 4?
Rudder is 4.
Guys, look right here. That's how you tell. 1, 2, 3, 4.
Yep.
You guys see that? Okay, so this is kind of tangling and dangling. It's kind of driving me nuts. It's got me feeling a little bit stressed out. But it's kind of hard to not have a little bit of overlap there. I don't know that there's really a good way to get rid of all that because it goes to this mixing board. Mixing board, that's another thing they do when they're making toilet wine. I really don't know what the heck that is. It makes me nervous.
Plug it into the servo tester?
I bet you I know what it is.
Is it
LEDs?
LEDs?
I don't know.
Damn, I was gonna say it first.
No.
Maybe don't get too excited until we know.
Well, I'm gonna go with, you know, I just don't know. It may not actually be plugged in this application as well. So, camera crew, as usual, is always right.
Yes.
Click, scroll the servo test. Oh boy, it could all blow up. Do you have your safety glasses on?
Yep.
Okay, what about
protected?
What about your hard hat?
Yep, and my hearing protection.
By the way, guys, if you look right there, there's your servo plug. The minus is toward me. They didn't silk screen it because God forbid you'd be able to actually read it. I can't tell.
Oh, we were right. LEDs.
Yeah, but I don't think we need to do that. Are they both on? Yes.
Tail and green.
Oh, wait, wait, look. Is it right here? Look, right here. Nothing?
No.
But see, I don't think we need to do that.
Okay.
I don't think we need to do that.
Well, we know what it is now, so if they don't come on when we start to play.
If they don't come on, you're right. But we've energized that board with other circuitry. Because the other wires go to it. Okay.
That's weird, but okay.
It is kind of weird, I think. All right, so guys, real quick rundown. We have all the wiring nicely positioned here. So yes, the camera crew does make a good point. It may not be the wisest thing to tie this all up. And so what I'm gonna do is I'm actually gonna take and I'm gonna run back to this little cavity here, this one throttle cable for the sake of cable management. And then I'm just gonna go ahead and tie this up.
Do it anyway.
I'm gonna do it anyway. Okay? So now, guys, if you get your cable management nice, trust me, you're never gonna regret doing cable management until the first time you have to replace something. And then you may, because sometimes cable management consists of sticking a bundle of cables into a hole in some inaccessible cavity on the plane. One way you can get around being regrettable with the way that all turns out would be to not do that.
Or listen to your wife.
If your wife is building planes with you, you should tolerate these things. Okay, you see this? Elevator, rudder. Okay, so that must be the steerable nose gear. Now there could be a sequencer involved too, but I don't know. I'm not sure. I don't really believe we're gonna be in tough shape.
Is that rudder getting pulled?
The wire?
Yeah.
No.
Okay.
It's
just the sticker.
No, it's just kind of the way it's laying.
Okay.
But I would like to have this so that it's secured in such a way that it doesn't pull. So that is a fair assessment. You see what I've done now? I basically just flipped the labels.
Okay.
Okay. You see this will be free. Now I think what I ought to do is I ought to also tie this right here at some point. So this is all bundled together in a nice, neat way. Because I'm just concerned it's gonna eventually come out in a not nice, easy way, okay? So take and fold. Gotta fold it again. Give myself a U, see a little quick double back, and then that gets that around, okay? So here we go. Now I'm gonna tighten it onto the connectors. That's gonna keep everything in proximity. Give it a nice little quick twist. That torques everything down. Okay, now these are probably gonna be left. These might be left. I'm thinking that's good enough, maybe? Okay. What do you think? Because then basically everything is where it needs to be with the exception of this. You know, and if we do need to plug that in, guess what? That's short enough that it's gonna have to probably come over here to the bind program SRL2 right there, okay? And plug in. Now, I'm not saying that's where that's gonna go, but I'm just gonna say that might go there. I don't think we need to plug it in, but we're gonna find out in just a few seconds. In fact, we're gonna take 2 seconds and clean up and come right back. All right, guys, so we got the battery in. This is the 4006S Gen 1. Remember, we don't need Gen 1 now because we have telemetry here. Now, what's the next step? Obviously, we have to put all these in, and then we have to do forward programming to set up AS3X and safe, and we'll be done. Just that. Okay, so we're gonna hit back, we're gonna cancel, we're gonna go down to bind, and we're gonna be prepared So then we'll plug this in right here. We're gonna press this button. Lights are flashing, okay? Now I'm gonna click, I'm gonna go back in to bind. Disconnect RF, bind, throttle cuts on. Okay. Did we not make an assignment to switch C?
For
the air brakes. I go back to monitor. Oh, look at that. There we go, 25.3 volts. Telemetry, nice. We also have a vario on here. If you want to use it, we're not going to use it. Okay, so my understanding is we set that. We evidently didn't.
we might not have because we were debating. Maybe we didn't.
So let's go back to system setup, disconnect RF, channel assign. Aux 2 is supposed to be switch C. What the heck?
Which would be channel 7, which is where we plugged them in.
Okay, that's very weird. I don't know what the heck that was. Oh, so channel 7. Oh, you know what happened? I plugged them into the wrong thing. The flaps aren't working yet. Okay.
You switched flaps and the air brakes.
No, see, still not moving it. Look. Aux 2 still not changing. What the heck? Okay. This is so weird. That's like the first time I've ever seen this happen. Channel assign, switch B, switch C. Now watch. Why is aux 2 functioning the flaps right now? If I go to flap system, it's on switch B. This is switch C, right? Mm-hmm. Okay, so I go back to system setup, disconnect RF, and I go to channel assign. That says switch C, doesn't it? Mm-hmm. Okay, so let's just inhibit that, and then I'm gonna do switch C. Am I missing something here, hon?
I don't think so. 1 to 6 would be flaps. Does B move the flaps too?
No, flaps are not hooked up yet. Oh, I landed the wires wrong.
Yeah.
That's what I did. I landed the wrong wire because remember they were unlabeled? Okay, so now the other thing is, maybe that's it. No, because we landed something. And by the way, we have lights.
Mm-hmm, we do.
We have lights.
Tail light.
We have lights.
Okay. Yep.
Whatever that is. Oh yeah, that's so sweet. Okay, so now I have to look at something real quick. Okay, I want to see the gear work on this. They're clear. Oh yes. That is gorgeous. Oh my goodness, that is so sweet. Spring loaded. Wow. You see the mains? So beautiful. And I gotta say, the gear door look fantastical.
And with the light on them on that front one.
Wow.
That front nose gear.
That is so sweet. Okay, by the way, look, in the correct condition.
Okay.
Okay, well then that means, so that's flaps, and I don't have the flaps set up yet, so I can't tell. So what does that mean? We have all these other servos that are hooked up and working, they're just not actually physically attached. So what we have to do now at this point is I think we have to go in here and switch flaps.
6 and 7.
6 and 7. Okay, so now, yep, that's what's going on. That's flaps, guys. My apologies, folks. So now I'm gonna take this wire and I'm gonna just take this one under it. I know you can't see, and my apologies for that, folks. It's probably just the way it's gonna be, unfortunately, until this gets landed. That's gonna have to go above it though, for the reach. For the reach around. There you go, there you go. Don't you know, folks? Look at that, watch this. There it is.
Yep.
Let's show them up here. Is there a magnet involved? I wonder if there's a magnet. No, it's just the way the decals are releasing. So I'm taking my thumbnail. Look at this, guys. Taking my thumbnail, and I want to run this thumbnail in here so that it pushes that in. Whoops. Okay, so now, stay put. See this? I'm gonna go click, servo setup, whoops, travel, reverse, aux 2. So that would be all the way out, halfway out, and not out. Then watch this. Speed for aux 2. I want it to go out. Look at that. I want to make them go out 3 seconds. I want them to go out for 2, and I want them to go in 1. I'm going to make them go in half. So they will deploy slow so that you get that cool effect. Oh, that is so cool. I just don't like how it's sticking. And I think it's just the way that it's stuck here.
I think, yeah, that's what.
It seems to be right. Ooh, yeah, that took care of it, actually. Did you see what I did? I took and rode this around the edge. Hun, film right here. See this? Watch this. I pushed that down, and then I pushed this down.
Yep.
Now watch. Dang it. Okay, very good. That is so sweet, guys. I gotta really love it. Now, also, I want to show you one other thing right here. So now I'm going to go back up to speed, and I'm going to scroll back over to travel on aux 2. That's the condition we're in. Oh yeah! Look at that. Now we got big old air brakes, even more deployment. So the first thing you do if you ever overdrive a servo like that is you have to make sure you have enough throw. Now, the cool thing is you could actually overdrive the inside. Now I'm gonna back that off of 150 to 145. The other thing is, if you want, you can change the closure point so that it sucks those doors shut, and then you can actually deploy them even further, okay? So you got half and you got full. That is so cool. Now, obviously, flaps, elevator, and rudder we have to set up. So let's set up the rudder first because it'll be the easiest to show. First things first, I'm gonna move the rudder. That would make this go here. Okay, so we're gonna move the stick like we expect it to move, and that's gonna push it the right way, okay? So now, show them on the manual where we're gonna figure out how to do this, and then I'll grab one of these, and I'll grab a pair of needle nose.
Outside hole.
Can you scooch here so I can stand here? Now I'm gonna use needle nose pliers. You guys may not have needle nose pliers for this step. You might wanna use the side cutters you used earlier. It just depends on what you've got available. But I'm gonna take this. I'm gonna show you a trick of the day, guys. These are gonna be different lengths, okay? You see this? Look, some of them are longer, some of them are shorter. You need to pay special attention to what one's longer and what one's shorter. How do I know which one goes where? Guess and check. Grab this so that the Z-bend is inside of there, and then work it a couple times. Bring it in some, bring it out some, okay? Pretty easy. We need to go to what hole?
Outside.
Okay, the camera crew is gonna come over here now. So the outside hole, drop it in. So it goes down, then twist it. Boom, just like that. Now, I want this centered, so I'm gonna grab this with my fingers, and then I'm gonna line this up. So then once I line it up, I can just spin it out by hand, hopefully. Nope. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Nope, 6, 7, 8. Too far, but here's my reason for doing that. 9, 10, 11, 12, and I'm still attached. So 1, 2, 3, 4 halves, 5 halves, 6 halves guarantees that we're not gonna pop off the end, okay? Feel like that's gonna probably bring it, that's probably gonna be okay, because look at the centeredness. Y'all left, y'all right, y'all left, y'all right. Okay, pretty good. Good return to center. It's not perfect. Now, if you get into one of these and you're having trouble getting it perfectly centered, you may need a tool like this called a ball link plier tool here. Okay, so this is going to help you to relieve these off of this device here, okay? So it pops it right off like that. Now you can also just use needle nose pliers or sheer brute force. I felt like that probably needs to go back half a turn. Nope, that's too much. Now I'm gonna go out half a turn. That should get us back to where we were. Let's go out another half a turn. Now it's too far, so half a turn is where we needed to be. Okay, you guys see how I did that? Pretty simple stuff. There is going to be half at a time. There's no middle step. If you need a middle step, you'll have to take some of the Z-bend out. You're not going to get it. Just, it'll be fine. Okay, now the next thing we have to do is elevator, and that means I have to probably flip the plane upside down. So why don't we go ahead and just tuck the battery leads in, put this on. By the way, I just want you guys to see cable management pays dividends almost immediately. The only thing I don't like is this gear wire because I had to redo those other two, okay? So now that's nice and neat and tucked in. We got plenty of room. You can get this in here without any consequence or issues, okay? You just don't want this to lift and pop your canopy off, okay? All right, so you see I've got that in there? That's not gonna create any pressure on the lid. Okay, now carefully I'm gonna flip this over. All right, so we have the rudder down, obviously. Now I'm gonna set this down. Okay, so first things first, because it's our first time seeing it from this angle, I gotta be careful about air brakes. Make sure, okay, so we're good there. Also, deployment is even and fairly, it looks like we got about the same amount of deployment. Okay, so the flaps aren't even set yet. Ailerons aren't set. Let's do elevator first, primary flight control surface. This might be kind of hard to tell exactly where centered is. So I'm gonna go in here and look at this, and then I'm gonna look at the manual and just see if it says anything about it. It probably won't. Nope, I'm not seeing anything, guys. And by the way, this says 4,000 to 5,500 milliamp hour batteries. Yeah, I don't see anything about it. I don't see anything about it. So what we're gonna do is we're gonna use our best judgment. All right, now you're gonna have to be probably on the inside here, I'm guessing. So we need the short linkage. We wanna be on which hole?
Outside. Let me double check.
I would prefer to have too much up elevator than not enough.
Outside.
Outside hole. Okay, so we're just gonna go to the outside hole. But before we do that, what are we gonna do? We're gonna grab this and brace it, and then in and out a couple of times to break these free. It makes it a lot easier.
Do you want to make sure that you're going the right direction before you put them in, or before you actually attach them?
Yeah, but I'm just gonna put that on there loosely. I'm not gonna snap it in. Elevator up, correct. Yep. Elevator down, correct. Okay, so we look pretty good there, and actually, dang, that needs to come out a couple halves. There's 1 half, 2 halves, 3 halves. Now I'm gonna go 4, 5, 6, 7 halves. 1, 2, 3, 4 halves. That means I have at least 2 full turns of purchase on the threads. I'm gonna go right here so it's flush. It's got a straight line here so the gap stays about even, okay? I can't say that's right, it's what I'm doing, okay? You guys may find that that's not perfect, but I can replicate that on both sides. Now, I'm gonna show you what it's like without pliers. I'm gonna hold this with my or my index and thumb, and I'm gonna work it out, work it in. You can do it if you have the death grip. These are pretty high quality, so they're in pretty good shape. They'll work good for you. But the cheaper ones are gonna be so hard to turn that they just about break themselves. Okay, so same thing, in, turn, and then just get it back here. Give it your half turn. Get that lined up so that it looks about the same. Now, you can look, but you have to kind of cover that LED. That's probably gonna be pulling up a little bit. What I'm doing is I'm kind of lining up with this right here, so it's aligned almost straight with that. I like this gap better. That gap is probably easier to replicate. So we're gonna come out a couple of turns. There's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, and still on. So 1, 2, 3, 4 half turns. I just count half turns, guys. It's easier to count half turns than it is to count full turns. There's one more. There's another one. That looks like a pretty even gap. Now I'm gonna cover my lights because they're blinding me. And I'm just gonna use my best judgment. It looks like this one needs to come out a half a turn out. If your plane rolls, this could cause it. Okay, so right now, what I'm doing is I'm looking at the edge here and I'm splitting the difference. So like this is the middle, I'm contacting the bottom of that. Okay, I gotta go out another half a turn. That LED does make it kind of hard to do this.
It does.
This step, but I'm so happy I have that LED. Okay, that looks pretty dang close. Now remember, evenness matters more than the exact absolute position. You need them to be even. I want that plane to go nose up. There you go, nose down. Okay, so we're good. Now, ailerons. Next thing. You'll notice we're all to the long ones. These ones are gonna be for us about the same length, okay? So we can have a couple on each wing. I'm just gonna take and hold the aileron. What do I go to, outside hole? Yeah. Okay, so I'm gonna turn this a few times, go all the way out to where it dang near isn't in there at all. And I can tell I'm gonna bring it in several turns, okay? So I'm gonna go in with a Z-bend, give it a turn. I'm gonna hold this in position, look how far out I am. So I'm gonna have like 3 or 4 turns. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. Probably 8, nope. 9, 10, 11, 12. Nope, 13, 14, 15. There you go, 15. Feels pretty good, but you guys see what I'm doing here? When I push this onto the face of the ball joint, I gotta try to go half again. And then does that overdo it? Nope, that's about perfect. So we'll snap it on. Okay, now, before we go any further, I need to roll the plane. Crap.
It's backwards.
It's backward. It's backward. It's backward. The camera crew doesn't get as mixed up as this, which is pretty bad since she doesn't really fly either. Wrong. So I'm gonna go up to travel. I'm gonna reverse the aileron. Now it's rolling, now it's rolling. Elevator up, elevator down, yaw left, yaw right. Okay, just remember, check as often as you can tolerate.
And that didn't change at all. When you reversed that,
it didn't change the absolute position. Sometimes it does. Yeah. You guys see how I checked above me before I did that? I've run into that light a million times. That's why I do that. You guys may not have the same lighting set up, so you may not have to do that. All right, so aileron, let's just get the other aileron done because it's gonna make it easier to line up the flap. Okay, so same thing, I'm gonna grab this, twist it in and out a couple of times. Obviously, I'm gonna go to the outside hole just like we did on the other. We already know we're not gonna be hopefully all the way out, so I need to go about 4 turns. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. Still there. 1, 2, 3 turns, so that's about where we wanna be. And the reason I go past is to make sure, yep, I'm way past. Okay, so there's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. Holding this right here so it's flush. Still not enough. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Oh yeah, we're getting dang close. That's probably about right, actually. So if I go 1 more, it's gonna be too much. There's 1 more. That is too much. Okay, so 1 back, that should be about right. Oh yeah, that feels good. I'm gonna leave it. All right, so correct ailerons, you can check either direction pretty easy. All right, now flaps.
Decal or something.
A decal?
Peeling.
Okay, so watch this. You guys see this? Turn the flap, turn the aileron. Okay, camera crew, use your fingernail to push that down. Push it down. All the way. Okay, let go. It's gonna peel back up, isn't it? Mm-hmm. If that becomes a problem, we'll cut that, okay? But you guys see what the camera crew caught there? She's talking about this little piece of vinyl decal right there, okay? So now flaps, let's talk about flaps. Flaps are not set to actuate yet. So what I need to do is I need to go into flap mode. I don't have to worry about doing this the wrong way at this point because they're not hooked to anything. See how they're going forward? So that would be the opposite direction we want, okay? So I can either flip the direction or I can just go the other way. I'm just gonna go the other way. See what's happening to the linkage? It's going all the way toward the flap. You see what's happening? So it's going forward. Now, I wanna see if I can get more out of it. So I'm gonna go to servo setup, travel, flap. We can usually run this to like 125 on a, ooh, we can go way out there. So there's 145. Okay, so that would be normal flight mode, then takeoff flaps, then landing flaps. Again, we don't know the exact absolute position, but let's just go ahead and do 125. No, let's not. Let's leave it at 100. Or let's do 125 up and 125 down. So what that's gonna do is that's gonna get the servos to the center of the range. Okay, so now I'm in the normal flight mode, which means we want this to be locked right in that position. So you can hold the aileron if you want, and you can just make sure that looks good.
And hold on, look at your sheet, because I think that's the second hole.
It's supposed to be the second hole down.
Yep.
But it really, like on this, it wouldn't really matter. You can do whatever you want. Oh, I did that backward, guys. You see the Z-bend? I did that the wrong way. Well, actually, I didn't really do it the wrong way, but I think this is gonna make better sense over here. We'll see if it does. Yeah, because see the ball joint? It's over here. Okay, so I'm gonna go in 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 halves. Nope. 9, 10. We obviously don't need to do the test we did on the others because we're going all the way in. Goodness gracious, I'm gonna run out of throw.
A short one.
No. Half a turn more. Half a turn more. Half a turn more. Okay, so now you want this all the way out because it's gonna force it in there. Okay, so there we go, half a turn out, there we are. So now that's locked in both positions, meaning it's flush and flush. Ailerons. Oh, it's hitting our drop tank. I can live with that. Okay, fair enough. So now we're gonna do the same thing over here. I laid this one over on the table, sorry, camera crew. So same exact setup as we did before. I'm just gonna work this so it can be spun in quite a bit. Now we're gonna go in one from the end. So it's on the second one from the end. See that? There's a hole empty and then we're in the second hole. How do we know that? Because on the page, it shows us in the manual. So I'm gonna use 3 fingers, pinch it, and then turn 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. Why do we use 3 fingers? Because you don't want to damage the servo linkage. Now out 1 half, 2 halves, and that should be about right. Probably one more. There's one more. Now, if you overdrive these too hard, then one's going to release quicker than the other, and that feels pretty dang good. Does that look good to you? Let's try one more half. Yeah.
We're gonna have about 15 minutes probably.
Okay. This is not going on, so I got to double back. Oh man, that doesn't want to stay on there. Okay, now it's on there, and it feels pretty good. Okay, so now look at the smoothness here, guys. Double check your smoothness. Actuate your ailerons, elevator, rudder, takeoff flaps, landing flaps do run into the drop tanks. So what I'm gonna do is I'm just gonna double check on takeoff flaps and landing flaps. We do actuate, so I'm gonna go up to the all the way up setting. See how it's hitting? Okay, I actually don't wanna knock. I don't wanna knock the drop tanks off, but I am gonna go. All I'm doing is I'm just walking until it starts first moving, and I make sure they first move at the same rate. I need to go 1/2 turn out on this one. Okay, so I'm gonna go back to 100. You see how this one's down just a little bit further? That little bit further is gonna be 1 pop, 1 turn out. If you guys didn't understand what I was doing there, I just wanna talk about that for 2 seconds. If you guys are trying to even up your control surfaces and you don't get them, if you don't get your surfaces even, you will pay the price, especially with flaps. That much, probably not, okay? You'll just correct it with aileron. But the truth is you'll get an asymmetrical yaw that happens, and it's gonna like fly like crap, okay? Okay, so we're free of the bombs or the drop tanks in this case. You wanna show them a real close-up shot of that, okay? Show them the gap, show them the air, okay? So now all the way down, and then look, now I'm gonna overdrive them from 100 until I see it stop. So 125, baby. Oh yeah. Okay, so now I can walk back to flap system where we speak in terms of 100 plus or minus. Now takeoff flaps, I want less. So I'm gonna go like minus 40. So we have just a little bit of takeoff flap, and then we have full landing flaps, okay? Now watch the gear, retracting for landing. Oh, that's so sweet. Oh boy, it's so good. Now the only thing I'm not sure about is this is never gonna be functioning with servos, and here's why. Because that gets actuated by the actual retract. Rock hard tires. Oof. If those weren't rock hard tires, I would be thrilled with this system, because that is absolutely gorgeous. Almost as good as the F7F, but the F7F is admittedly more cool. One of the best landing gear systems we've seen, but also imperfect. Okay, so closing the gear, lights go off. By the way, they painted my landing lights. Those are painted, look.
Maybe they're supposed to be, so they're not so intense.
I am about 1,000% sure they're not supposed to be painted, guys. Camera crew could be right.
I thought you said I was always right. Oh, they can't hear me, my mic is dead.
Mic's dead?
Yeah.
You can still hear a little bit. All right, guys, so last setup we have to do. This is the easiest part of the model setup for AS3X and Safe. Literally, I know you guys probably don't believe me, but that's true, as it always has been. Gear coming down, that is so sweet. I gotta love it. Oh man, it's so good. Hey, pull that off of there. Okay, so on the nose gear, on the mains. Oh yes, that is so sweet. Okay, so real quick, elevator up, elevator down. Yaw left, yaw right, roll right, takeoff flaps, landing flaps, and air brakes, baby. That is so freaking cool. Okay, now also I just want to talk about something. This does not have to have anything to do with anything, but you could also make these actuate at full landing flaps if you want, okay? So the way you would do it if you wanted to is you'd make a mix. The mix would be a normal, and you would mix flaps. So you would say flaps. You would say flap. Where did it go? Where did it go? So you'd go flap to aux 2, right? Is that what it was? Aux 2, and you would make it active upon only this condition and not this condition and not this condition. So in this condition, you would make a rate. Wrong way. See how they're coming out? Until they go to your heart's content. However far out you want them. Okay, so it looks like 125 and like 65, good enough. Okay, so then you would go, there you go. Pretty sweet, right? But then that's only gonna be true. Oh, and you know what? I actually did that wrong. I want this to be switch C, and I want it to only be in that condition. So if switch, okay?
No, you had it right.
You're right. I did want that switch B, didn't we? Because then it's, but I kind of only want this active when there's certain things true. So there you go. So now we have our normal takeoff flaps, and then we have like barn doors with braking, but I can take off and there's no additional drag whatsoever.
Or you can separate, not have that mix, and just run the air brakes when
Yep.
you want them, the way you want them.
Yep, exactly.
Okay.
So in order to stop that, what you would do is you would just turn this off, and then you have nothing, okay? Make sense? Mm-hmm. Right, okay, so now everything should be ready to go except for forward programming. So we're gonna...
Are you gonna set elevator correction on flaps?
Yes, thank you for catching that, camera crew. So we're gonna go to flap system, and we're gonna set, let's just start with something simple, 6 and 10. Take off flaps, landing flaps. I think we need to do more than 10. We'll probably do 14 and 8. Okay, so I'm just looking at the elevator. On an inboard flap, the elevators go down and then down further, okay? And I'm thinking we might have too much deflection on the flaps, but I don't know that. And honestly, with this, there may need to be other corrections, but we'll come back to that after we've flown, okay? So the next thing we need to do, thank you for catching that, is we have to do forward programming to set up AS3X and safe. This actually goes relatively quick, so don't worry. Gyro settings, first time setup. You have to have all the rest of the crap done first. Yeah. It's talking about all this crap. It just told you what I just told you. Set at level, continue. Set it on its nose and hit continue, okay? So can you do the continue thing for me? Once I get this lifted, I'm gonna holler, okay? There is plastic on the nose, so you can lay it on the nose. Hit continue. That's the direction. Yep. Okay, so it got the orientation of the device. Okay, so that's always good because it is spatially aware. Hit continue, gain channel. We're gonna set that to the right knob, which is aux 5. Okay, and that's the gain channel. We're gonna apply that. It's gonna go one dance. You'll hear 2 when you get AS3X and safe turned on, okay? All right, so it's rebooted. Now go back into forward programming. Now we can go in and go to gyro settings, F mode setup. We have to set the flight mode. It's gonna be D. Should be switch D. Well, wait, that's aux 1. We actually want D on aux 4.
Yes.
That's a default, by the way. It's not correct. Here's how you can tell. When you go to next, if that number doesn't change, it's not set right. Okay, so in this mode, I want AS3X active. In this mode, I want it off. In this mode, I want AS3X active, off, and active. So you're gonna have safe and AS3X in this mode, and you're gonna have nothing in this mode. And then this mode's my normal flight mode for AS3X. Okay, then I'm gonna go to AS3X settings, and I'm gonna go to 4 times gains, fixed adjustable gains. We're gonna verify. Good. Now watch this, gain all the way up. Nothing's working because we haven't given throttle. Throttle cuts off. We went over 25%, throttle cuts back on. As I go, come over here. See it going that way? See it going this way? That's gain all the way up, all the way down. All the way up, off. Now we're gonna check directions. So the gain is all the way up on 4X. Now we're looking for that elevator to go up. It goes up, it goes down. It goes up, it goes down. Rudder goes toward the camera crew, toward me. Now watch the ailerons. I gotta stay away from there. Up with the aileron, down with the aileron. Do you see it? Up with the aileron, down with the aileron. You want it to go the same, you want it to resist the environmental impact. Now it's not auto leveling, but you can see on this, I'm gonna lift it, it's gonna go up. Up, now down. Now elevator, up, now down. Give me the camera. I want you guys to see what this looks like. Okay, aileron, up goes up, down goes down. Up goes up, down goes down. Up goes up. Okay, now watch the elevator. Elevator goes up, elevator goes down. Okay, now aileron goes up, aileron goes down. Okay, steerable nose gear is not a good one to watch. It's always confusing because it's kind of backward. Okay, rudder goes left, rudder goes right. Okay, Now, as you can see, every time that you give environmental impact, the AS3X responds with a contrary input, meaning it's going to try to undermine the environmental impact. That's what AS3X does. Okay? So now, make it work. Off. On. Off. That's safe. On. Off. Now I'm going to turn the gain all the way up. On. Gain all the way down. Gain all the way to the middle. Now I'm going to set my gain from 4x down back to 1x. Okay, now we need to do first time safe setup. First time safe setup is super easy. It takes just a second longer. We've already set this. Just go in and confirm it's set to the aux4D, which it already is. You have to tell it to continue. Then you have to tell it which mode you want it in. In mine, it's going to be flight mode 3. Takes a second to update. Don't worry about that crap. It's just a warning. Now we need to level the model and trim attitude. Okay, so we're 0. Oh, okay, so 1 and -3. Good enough. Then what I'm going to do is I'm going to go to, I want to open up my limits. I want to turn on angle. Yep. Oh, dang it. Self level and angle demand. I want right roll allowed to go to 75. I want left roll to go to 75. I want pitch down to go to 60. And then I want pitch up to go to, yes, let's just do 60, and that'll keep us from tipping over, okay? Now in this mode, nothing. We don't care. We don't care. Got it? Because it's inhibited. It's inhibited. Now it's on. Now watch this. Now I'm going to go to next, and I have to commit this all to the setup. See how it says next is highlighted? Now I'm going to go to apply and watch it dance twice. Dance once, dance twice. But that doesn't mean safe is on until we turn it on. Okay, so now I can go out. Watch this. Clear my timer. Elevator up, elevator down. Roll left, roll right. Yaw left, yaw right. Takeoff flaps, landing flaps. AS3X is not going to be active until I give throttle, but safe would be. Now there's nothing. Gains all the way up. Nothing. AS3X, nothing, because we haven't given throttle. I'm going to hold the plane, secure it, and I'm going to give 25% throttle. Holy crap, that's a lot of throttle. Still, I didn't get to 25%. Check this out. Jeez. Okay, throttle cuts on. Now it's working. Okay, master gain is down. Master gain's at midway. Off. Safe has that. Throttle cuts on. We're at the midpoint. I'm going to flip it over and check to see if safe is auto leveling. Yep. Finding the quickest route to level. Now, also, look what's happening with the elevator. Look at the elevator closely. It's trying to pull out of the dive. It's trying to pull out of the climb to level the plane. Pretty sweet. So now this is going to automatically level. It's going to automatically stabilize at the same time. I wanted to make sure I cleared my switches. Or we can have stabilization only, or we can have nothing. Now watch what happens. Elevator and ailerons down and out. AS3X, off, safe. Okay? And that's going to tell you another quick check to see if your plane is operating in safe mode. So there you have it, guys. From the box to the air is what we do on Brian Phillips RC. We're going to help you get from where you aren't to where you want to be. And if you don't need all the help, skip to where you need the help and follow along. But at the end of the day, we love bringing you guys amazing content, and it wouldn't be possible if it weren't for awesome products like this FMS F-86, which just looks amazing. I can't wait to get it in the air. I'm super excited, which is why it's almost 1 o'clock in the morning on a weeknight, and we are building this so that we can get up early and fly it for you tomorrow. Hopefully. So guys, awesome plane. Cannot wait to get, the build went super smooth, a little bit tricky on the tail, something new. But it wasn't hard. It just took a couple extra screws and a couple extra minutes to put that together. And then in terms of radio setup, I can't complain. I think that's pretty clean, guys. And without further ado, we have pack telemetry. We also have altitude, and we have all sorts of gyroscopic feedback, which is nice if you need to figure out how many G's you pulled, to figure out if you should have puked. But all I'm gonna say is, this thing looks absolutely fantastic. NX10 gets your job done. AR8360T is gonna also get the job done. And boy, oh boy, oh boy, oh boy, this thing has some power. All right, I can't give full throttle because I'll kill my plant. Throttle cuts off, watch this, guys. That is, that's at 26%, folks. That's gonna be powerful. I'm afraid to give it full throttle. It was like 45%. Throttle cuts on. 3 minutes is gonna be a good flight time. I hope we get all of 3 minutes and then a little bit more to spare, but I cannot wait to see this, guys. If you wanna help support Brian Phillips RC with all the stuff we do to keep you guys in the game, to get the people off the sidelines and into the game, to get the people back from the hiatus in RC, do what you can do. There's 5 ways. Obviously, watch, like, subscribe, click the bell for notifications when you're doing that so you get new content delivered to you when it comes out from Brian Phillips RC. But then on the flip side, if you want to help us financially, you buy these amazing planes from the links in the video description below. We make small commissions from the companies we work with, and that's how we fund this whole thing. Also, special thanks to our Patreons. If you want to be one, monthly support, you can be one. You'll be one of about 50 people that are supporting us. Also gives you immediate access to me for comments, which is helpful because I can't keep up with comments on YouTube anymore. There's just like literally too many of them. And I hate it, but it's true. I wish I could answer 100% of comments. We used to do it for many years. We got to about 110,000. I just could not keep up anymore. And I'm talking, I was spending 3, 4, 5 days in a row doing it. Instead, we're doing more content, which is what we want to do because we want to help people get off the bench and get flying. We want to help prevent one and dones, and we want to be here to answer questions. But we can do it better in a video than we can on a million different comments because we only answer one question at a time. If we film a video, we might answer 10,000 questions over the course of a couple years, okay? So hopefully you guys get that. I know you do, so stay tuned. And also, I do answer a lot of comments still, so ask your questions. I'll try to get to them. Patreon, though, will give you immediate access. I'm just telling you, it just works that way. Now, when there's 1,000 people supporting us on Patreon, it might be kind of tough, but even then, it's going to be easy to keep up with that compared to the 150, whatever it is, 1,000 people subscribing. Also, we have Patreon, PayPal, friends and family. If you don't want to give fees and you don't want us to have to pay fees, friends and family is the way to do it. YouTube super thanks are always appreciated. Thank you guys if you're doing super thanks. And then YouTube members, if you're one of them, thanks for being one. The monthly support is very much appreciated. But just keeping in mind, Google likes to get their teeth into your dollars and cents and keep it away from us, which is very frustrating. And truthfully, Patreon's fees are about half what you pay at YouTube. If you're curious about that sort of stuff, we try to be transparent. I don't even want to have the begging sites like Patreon and YouTube members, but we just do it because you guys want to support us. Really, what we want you to do, if you were asking, is to buy the planes and get in the air. Buy the batteries, replace your worn out one. Buy the transmitters when you are buying one, but don't buy stuff just because, you know, we did a video. Buy stuff because you want this awesome plane. And when you do have the budget allows, you've got your family taken care of, you got your, you know, the normal stuff taken care of. We're never asking you guys to do stupid stuff. We want you guys to be, you know, smart about the way you spend money on RC, but we also want to make your dollars stretch further. And that's why you check out BrianPhillipsRC.com so you can check out coupon codes, and then you also support us at the same time when you go over there and check first. So there is usually generic codes even on new stuff like this, which is pretty sweet. And guys, don't forget, we have links to different territories if you're in Canada or UK, and we actually have a couple leads for Australia. And what was the other one?
Oh, it's UK, but it would be FMS UK.
Right.
If somebody knows of somebody
yes.
in Australia or New Zealand, please
we are trying to find affiliates to work with in New Zealand and Australia because it is such a different market over there because everything is so expensive to get in because you're on a giant island. Well, so is the United States, so is Canada, so is South America, so is Africa, but they're all attached by, you know, like little strips of land. unlike New Zealand, unlike Australia. So we wish you could fix it. Anyway, guys, we really appreciate you. World's best audience right here on Brian Phillips RC, watching us on YouTube or wherever you're watching us now. We appreciate you being here with us. We have so much content, we can't hardly squeeze it in, and we are working our tails off to bring you the best long format RC content that we can produce. So thanks for being here. Stay tuned. Thanks for watching.